Alright,
Countdown.
two. Uh, Welcome to the third game of DMV Rivals Summer 2022. That's actually a wrong logo. Interesting. Um, so we'll be your casters today. My name is Lyrax, or Max, I guess, and then another caster can introduce themselves.
I am Katie, or the first dragon.
I am Potato Senpai, or Jake.
All right. And going into the teams for today, we have Sice me Derive. We've got Heacher, Ragnaros, Sicer, Derive, and Cridians. Or as I like to see here, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse and their captain Sicer. I'm really excited for this team. I know they're really kind of balls-to-the-wall aggressive, or at least that's how I've seen them in the past, and I really hope to see some more thriller action from them in this game as well. Any thoughts?
Well, we certainly know that Derive takes a lot of 1v1s in the mid lane. I'm looking forward to see an exciting early game and hopefully some clean plays in the mid to late.
I've played quite a few games with Sicer, and I got to agree, I'm ready for some really aggressive jungling to come out here. I'm just really excited to see him play, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch.
All right. And for the other team, we have Str8th. So we have RL Pones, Nore, Dexmax, Nightstone, and Cridians. So a lot of these players, this is their first time at DMV, but we really hope to see a good performance from them. Actually, I think this is all of their first time except for Night's Dawn, so that's pretty interesting. And well, I don't know too much about them, but I hope to see a great performance. Any other thoughts?
Well, I'm really looking forward to spicy bot lane from this team. We know Dexmax generally is a top lane
Oh, it's
player.
Kurian. I'm so sorry. It is Kurian, not Cridians. I am really stupid. Cridians is both teams, yes.
Double agent action going
Double
on.
Asian. All
Yeah,
right.
things are heating up already in the first round.
That's my fault. Anyways, yeah. Any. I hope to see some great action from both teams today. And for our opening ceremony, I'm going to start the a little bit of a DMV Rivals any percent speedrun timer for our team Str8th in their honor, of course, as a little pre-game build-up for them. All right. And we're going to do a coin flip on stream here for the right to choose side selection.
So, who gets heads and who gets tails?
All right, would captains like to call heads or tails? Anyone can call. I'll just assign you in 3, 2, 1. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. Nightson's team is heads, and Sicer's team is tails. Looks like Nori's team gets side selection. What side would you like? All right. Nori's team has called the blue side. Would you please rearrange yourself so we can get into game?
Alright.
And are we using draft lore or not? I would like to just point that out.
We're just waiting on the spectate link for drafts. So while I have you all captive here, would you like to hear a joke? Oh darn, it already started.
All right, and we're getting into drafts hopefully soon. You can say your joke. It's fine.
Let me think. I gotta have a good one for the very first. Uh,
All right, in that case, anyways, so what's our expectations of draft here? I know that Talia, I believe, will be high priority, maybe on both sides actually. I know Derive of Sice Derive definitely plays Talia, and it's a very strong pick in the current meta.
I actually think that
yeah, go ahead.
after the hotfix, the Talia is not. I wouldn't even call her S tier. I think she's still pretty solid.
Okay.
Not after the hotfix. No, I think there was just too many little small changes in there. I think she's probably like high A, but I wouldn't say she's pick or ban anymore.
Or are you talking about mid lane, or are you talking about jungle, or the combination here, or
either one?
either
think
one.
That,
all right.
I think she could still be a valuable early pick just because you can flex her to either jungle or mid lane.
that's
Especially if you don't want to blind either or all. I'm actually curious to see if they're getting ready.
What do you think the
I'm
priority
curious to
picks
see
here?
if we're gonna see a Garen ban or a Wukong pick here.
Right.
I think we've seen Wukong was very popular earlier in the last couple games. You yourself, Maximilian, played him, I believe, 2 games in a row in the support role.
Yes. I think Wukong, honestly, he's probably one of the best champions, if not the best champions, as evidenced by its, I think, almost 100% pick ban rate in MSI so far. Actually, well, so far, MSI's over, but so we do see the Garen ban. That was an interesting prediction. Surprisingly, neither Talia nor Wukong taken off the table early. Maybe they're deciding to trade it. Who knows?
We see the Kindred ban. I believe that is targeted at our resident Derive or Derive. We've seen him dominate games. Perhaps not in this DMV Rivals, but in previous seasons on the Kindred.
Well, I mean, surprisingly for Sice Derive, it's a flex pick between Sicer and Derive, interestingly enough. I'm not sure that means too much in this case, but it is a very interesting ban, so I like to see what they do with it. They did ban 3 effective, I guess, 80 carries or late game 80 DPS threats, so I wonder if that means they're going to pivot toward more tanks, or they just think that's comfort ban. Okay, we get a
well, we
first
do
pick
see
to
this Talia.
Yeah, I feel like this is a trend that's going to continue for the rest of the series. I do think we'll see a pick ban Talia on both sides, and they do trade it with Wukong.
I think that's going to. You think Talia's going to go mid or jungle, or do you think neither team has any idea where it's going yet?
I think nobody knows.
I think no one knows.
We do see that by picking the Talia, they did give up the Wukong there. And that's a zillion. Is that also flex or is that Dex Max in the support role?
I'm pretty sure Arl Pons plays a decent amount of Zillion. I haven't done my research maybe that well, but I'm pretty sure he plays a decent amount of it.
It's also a pretty decent answer into Talia. I think it's one of the sleeper OP picks, at least mid lane right now on the patch. I think just the ability to get out of Talia's WE combo with only movement speed rather than having to use a dash, which obviously doesn't help. Just in general is a good kind of soft counter to.
Makes sense. What do you think of the early Camille pick? Because that Wukong could also be going to the jungle rather than top lane.
I think they better hope that the Wukong's going to jungle, not top. I actually like the Wukong side of that matchup. I'm not sure that I like the blue 3 Camille unless you have some really spicy like support Camille action.
Well, we will see. I'm curious if they're going to ban Nami actually, or take it on the red side, considering we see that blue side has picked one half of the Lishinami pair.
I feel like Lucian Nami
Actually,
has dropped in priority as evidenced by kind of their inability to burst a lot of the well, I guess other supports that are hovering around in the meta. But I still think it's a very strong lane that they can get priority for sure. Maybe not solo killing everyone.
I think while they can no longer really kill people in lane as consistently, they're definitely able to establish prio and help their jungler get early dragons or invade the bottom jungle.
I see. Well,
Especially since they're on blue.
Potato Senpai, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on these mid ban mid picks here, because both mid laners haven't picked yet. So what would you like to see from both sides?
so from Sice, I think they have a really, really strong top side with the Wukong and the Olaf. I think if the Zillion's not going mid, you probably have enough damage out of those two, assuming you have a strong DPS AD carry that likes maybe a little bit of utility. On the side of Royal Pones, almost similar. I think you have a pretty good mix. So you could actually go DPS or you could go more of utility mage, just since you have the Camille and the Talia. But
You're thinking
it's
more of
kind
like
of
a
open.
control kind of CC, maybe a mage on both sides. So no kind of. I know the meta is kind of steering away from assassins in general. So is that kind of what you're feeling?
I definitely don't think assassins. I think right now it's just between like utility was kind of buffed with the durability change, not necessarily burst, but just CC and whatever, or DPS. It looks like the
Right.
Zillion's actually going mid from Sice
Very.
and
And
Nivio.
It looks like it's the Anivia mid or the Anivia support pick. It very well could be the Anivia support pick here. I know Anivia has kind of risen to popularity in the mid lane, but we also have seen our
I think that
opponents
might
play
be
Anivia support a decent amount. So I'd like to see how that
might be
works into the bot
Trundle
lane.
support also.
It could be Trundle support, but I don't know if I've ever seen. I don't know if I've ever seen him play Trundle support. And I know Nori has played a decent amount of Trundle jungle. Well, in any
That's
case,
true.
it's still a flex pick. So, I mean, uh, the response to it in this case is Cassiopeia, which is, I guess, a counter pick to Talia. They still don't know who's in the mid lane per se, even with the draft being completed.
I think that has to be a Cassio bot lane, right?
I think that's
Oh,
a
you're right. It's a
zillion
Cassio. Oh, oh no,
I mean, I
right?
guess you could
Because
go.
their bot lane is two support players. So they in scrims they actually have run this bot lane before. Nautilus is a lean bot. That's something
Oh,
that we
that's
kind of
interesting.
didn't think about. All right, so they do have a very good
Definitely
mix of
strong side
damage.
top.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong side top. They have a good mix of damage here as well, with Cassiopeia and Zillion being AP threats and Wukong Olaf being very, very much AD oriented threats.
Those late
actually
game team fights with the Zillion speeding up the Olaf Wukong, especially with how hard Olaf scales now, I think it's going to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, I think in the late game, I really hope that they can isolate the Cassiopeia. Although the problem with that is isolating the Cassiopeia, if you commit too many resources to it, you will die to Olaf and Wukong. So it's not maybe as easy as one might hope.
I'm really curious to see how Olaf will do in this game. Just I haven't actually seen him played after the durability patch, but I remember even prior to that he was very, very tanky.
Yeah,
And
after his. Sorry, good.
oh, and people were talking about how he's like functionally unkillable mid to late if he's even.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say?
I think after his kind of mini change in the durability work, he's in a really good spot. Not jungle. I think his jungle is actually kind of mediocre to
Mhm.
almost subpar. I think his top lane is really strong. So I'd like to see Olaf top and Wukong jungle here.
I certainly hope that you are correct. Uh,
And it looks like there is a mistake.
that was
Yeah, a
a
second
Galio
mistake.
pick and not ban.
We'll be right
I like the
back.
2v5 energy.
that's the
I
spirit,
like it.
fighting spirit you need to win these games.
Yeah.
Alright, as we all get back into the lobby, Do we have any predictions for this series? What do we think for an overall winner of this series?
I'd like to see where the champions are all going before I make my guess.
Well, isn't that a little bit of cheating? In theory, we shouldn't even have
It's,
seen the draft before we choose our winners here.
I'd like to call it making an informed decision,
All right, well,
especially since I'm not familiar with a lot of these players.
I'll
Yeah, I was
toss
gonna say
my
I think it's
vote
still.
for Norway's team just on a whim. I think
I was gonna
they're.
say
Go ahead, sorry.
Uh,
I was gonna say it's a little hard just because it's we don't know most of the players right from Norway's team. But so I cut you. I can go.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know most of them, but I've seen a lot of good performances from Norway and from Knights Dawn in the past, and I do like their kind of team dynamic in the sense of like how they draft. It looks like they're willing to trade the Talia for the Wukong. They've got that. They've got the counter picks. They seem to have kind of the winning mindset, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna put my pick for them. I'm gonna say I think it's a close series. I'm gonna say 2-1.
oh, for the whole series, that's what we're making our guess
Yeah,
for.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I gotta go there. I think I have to go 2-1 for Sicer's team. I think they have a really like cohesive draft for the first game, which kind of bodes well for their preparation and just their team coordination, at least out of game. And I also know that like Sicer's a really strong player, Derive is really strong, and I think that that mid jungle 2v2 is going to be pretty hard to overcome.
Do you think that their bot lane will be instrumental in winning this game with Zillion and Nautilus, or do you think it would have been better to have kind of more of a standard bot lane? Well, I say that, and there's
I
no
think
Navia support, so
I think Navy support is good, but I think that there's just so much damage on the top side of the map for Sicer's team that it's probably almost better to just have that utility at a bot lane because it gives them a more well-rounded comp. So I kind of like the
I definitely
Zillion,
can
and
see
I
that.
also do like the Nautilus.
It is really scary to see a Zillion sped, Zillion ulted Wukong or Olaf. That is very
Yeah,
kind of a threat that you don't usually see coming. Yeah.
And can I take it that both of you believe that the red side will be winning this game?
Um. Well, if we go lane by lane here, I think I don't know about the Camille Olaf matchup. I'd like to ask maybe if Potato Senpai knows how that one would go.
the
Um,
only time I've ever played against Olaf top is Camille, I got smashed, and that was before the changes. It was also Tyler won, so that may change it, but I think the matchup was just really Olaf favored,
Mhm.
regardless of who's piloting it. So I think even especially after the changes, where Olaf's going to almost outscale her, that it's still going to be Olaf favored.
That would make sense. So if they have a kind of winning topside, and Wukong doesn't win against Trundle in the 1v1, but he's the meta jungler for the reason. He outscales, and his ganking is not as good per se, but his 2v2 fights are really strong as well. Then I don't know about the mid matchup either. Can I get your input on that?
Uh, so you can go.
Oh no, I think I heard from some people that Cassiopeia has actually been struggling this patch because of the durability changes, where it's difficult for her to kill her lane opponent because of her current mana issues. But you're the mid lane expert here, Mr. Potato Senpai. What do you think?
I think that's definitely true. I don't think the goal of Cassio should be to kill your lane opponent for the most part. But also in every other goal, I think Talia is probably a little bit better early. Um, but I also think, well, actually, I think the cast is still going to outscale, and she's going to be stronger late. But there's right, you can't buy boots to help dodge the Talia knockup combo,
Mhm.
and especially if you get like a Trundle pillar, it's going to be easy sums. So I think the mid matchup is going to kind of depend heavily on how much Nure wants to win that lane.
Mhm.
Uh, but in a vacuum, I don't think Talia should be able to just flat out win the lane. I think it should be slightly in her favor, and then Cassio should outscale.
That'd make a
Makes
lot of
sense.
sense. Do you lend any kind of extra credit to Talia in this game, being able to like kind of stifle the Wukong dashes, maybe even the Nautilus engage? I suppose that I suppose that the top laner doesn't have any dashes, but I feel like
Olaf
Yeah,
is also Olaf.
I think it's
With-
actually. Sorry.
Oh no, just his ultimate's unstoppable. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the only real thing that she can stop with her E is gonna be Wukong dash and kind of Nautilus key, but like once you hit that, it doesn't really matter, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the draft out of red side is actually really good for just stopping Talia's utility because you just have movement speed focused champions, right? Zillion, Cassio, Olaf,
Olaf,
and
yeah.
it'll be annoying for Wukong, but the other three don't really care all that much.
I'm just wondering how much Talia can really get pressured in this lane. If they have good like vision coverage, then I mean Wukong has a really hard time engaging into Talia through the E. Same with Nautilus. Even if Nautilus lands the hook, he gets stunned afterwards, so she can walk off relatively scot free. I mean, she gets ulted, but
Yeah, I agree. I think in lane, you're right. I think that if she uses her E correctly, it should make pretty hard for her to get ganked. It'll be just interesting to see how she uses it after laning phase ends in some of the team fights.
actually, one good point that maybe I'd like to bring up before we talk about the bot lane matchup is that Anivia, well, she may have problems into Wukong with his copious amount of dashes, especially with the additional W dash that can go over walls now. She definitely stifles out the Olaf because he can just wall the Olaf before he has a chance to really do anything.
We also have another piece of impassable terrain in the Trundle pillar.
That's true. Although he doesn't get slowed,
So
but that is true.
it's gonna be interesting. Actually, is Anivia Wall plus Trundle pillar long enough to block off an entire lane?
I believe Anivia Wall by itself is long enough, right? Yeah,
I'm
is
curious
it not?
to see what the point order is for Anivia.
No,
Or the
you can
skill
block
max
it off.
order.
You can block it off. You can block off the entirety of mid lane if you start from one of the walls to the tower, but minions can go through like the small gap. So yes, you need the pillar. Yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that's relevant to this, but
Yo, fix your stream by the way. We can't even see half the stream.
I think the computer's just lagging.
uh,
No, your computer is not lagging. What's happening is that you need to resize it because we can't see half of it.
my computer's also big. I'm sorry.
Technical difficulties. Curious to see if we're gonna get an invade here out of red side. They do have a Nautilus hook, but the enemy team also does have Trundle and Anivia. Looks like red team is just running straight down the mid lane. We might see just a flash Nautilus hook here right now.
Well, it looks like blue team's stacking towards almost Tribe Rush.
There does appear to be a ward, so if red team is going standard invade, they're going to be spotted out right here. Let's see if they fall into blue team's trap. Does blue team even win if they get run into?
Now, I think red team with Olaf Wukong
Mhm.
is pretty strong. Cassio's a little bit weak at level 1, but Olaf Wukong is pretty nasty.
Looks like red team's just gonna walk out and go back to their lanes. There is a ward on the red buff though. Or on blue team's red buff. So they will see where the jungler chooses to start. Looks like Trundle's heading top side. Fingers crossed that we're gonna see something spicy and there's gonna be a level 2 gank top lane. But both junglers are starting top side, so I'm more inclined to believe that they're gonna be fighting over bot cap.
That'll be interesting.
Do you see that Lucian and Nivea are waiting in a bush while Celia and Nautilus are just checking to see if Trundle is starting their blue buff? Oh, hopefully neither of those two checks the bush, but they are walking the safe way to lane.
Honestly, I really
I
like this
think
pathing choice from. Sorry to cut you off. I really like this pathing choice from Trundle going down to bot side because I think at level 3, it's very easy for them to maybe. I mean, at the very least, a wall plus a pillar is a guaranteed 1 or 2 flashes. So
Mhm.
if the red team bot side here doesn't respect the Nibia wall and the Trundle pillar, they may as well just die at 3.
I think. Oh, we're seeing a trade here in the
Awesome.
mid lane.
Huge damage to Cassio. Misses the Q. The E's almost enough. One more, and that's it. That's first blood at level 2 from Cassiopeia with plenty of mana to spare. But the Ignite kills her. I don't know what that wave state looks like. Depending on who it pushes into, that could be good for either one. But we do have a summoner advantage for Derive. He did not burn Ghost or Flash
It
for
looks like
the
it's pushing
Ignite on
into
Night.
as well, so that's really good trade from him. There is something going on why everyone has 0 minion kills.
Suppose I must rescind my my statement earlier about Cassiopeia lacking damage. Clearly, in the hands of Derive, that is not a problem.
I don't know how much corrupting stacks Night's Dawn used, but I think if you used all of them, there probably wouldn't have been enough mana there.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, and he goes right into the tier start. Is that normal now on Talia? I don't know if I've seen a tier start. Not tier start, but tier second item.
I've seen a couple of tier Tilias. It's definitely not the most common, and I don't think that it's the highest win rate either, but it's definitely not bad.
Are they finishing the tier, or are they just buying it for the lane and selling it later?
They're usually upgrading its second or third item into serves.
Huh.
Oh, it's another scrap.
Wow, some damage already hits the Q, just running her down, hits the W. The knockup misses from Talia, and that should be just another kill. That's just another solo kill for Derive in the mid lane. Burns Ghost this time, but has Sice to help push the wave.
Incredibly well this game. That's amazing. I know. I mean, we kind of expected this sort of in the draft already, that Talia kind of has a hard time into Cassiopeia, but not to this extent. So really well played from Derive here.
I actually thought. You know, I would like to briefly congratulate Heacher for purchasing a pink board. I very rarely see top laners buy this mysterious item that for some reason many of them believed is mythical and does not exist. Not targeting anybody here, just, you know, making my opinion known.
So surprisingly kind of even bot side here. Critians is going down on CS a little bit. I think Zillion's CSing power early on tends to be a little bit harder because of the way his bombs don't like hit the minions exactly when you want them to per se. But I don't know if I'd like them both scaling. Another question.
Mid. She misses the flash coming out from Cassiopeia. The second Q lands. That should be enough damage. The flash to get to safety from Night's Dawn. And now Trundle is just running on Cassio, who's out of mana, does not have enough to finish the kill, and dies to the Trundle after flashing aggressively. Man.
Action in the mid lane, it's surprisingly close, like every time. I mean, not the kill per se, but Cassiopeia's mana bar actually.
Yeah.
It does look like they're able to get the wave in, though.
Oh, more action top lane. The Olaf hits the Q, hits the second Q. There's no flash from Camille, but her E is enough to get her to safety. But man, that health bar is looking pretty low.
Yeah, it's just another trade in the top side. Really?
Looks like it's also Charlie Drake. Trundle.
I wonder what the game plan here is for Red Team. Their bot side is getting consistently pushed in, and their mid doesn't seem to be, or the mid gets a lot of prio though. So I hope they really like rotate their mid down and get their bot lane maybe the ability to move out of that lane, because it doesn't seem that they're kind of enjoying their time down there, just catching CS really.
Speak of the devil, we see Cassiopeia walking into the enemy bot side jungle. Maybe looking for Trundle? Blue side's
just in that bush.
Well, it looks like she is not going to find her target. Trundle is top side, looking at that blue buff there. Looks like Nautilus has a roam timer. Enemy bot lane did just recall. There's not really much to look for right now.
Nope. Some fighting going on top, though. Olaf hits more Qs, but there's the Camille E with Trundle coming in to help the Hextech ultimatum, and Olaf dies, but man, that was so close. Almost had enough damage to just burst out Camille, but that is not going to be enough, and the wave is going to get crashed with Nore's help. Even smites the can.
55% win rate is not enough to save two champions. Quite unlucky.
Well, it does have
The Q
TP.
lands mid, but it looks like the E slow is going to be enough to force Derive back.
Yeah, Derive
Although
taking
the deny they
aggressive
can't.
trades just to deny a little bit of CS, even though that is.
No flash here though. The wall, the Anivia Q into the knockup. Great ult out of Derive, but the exhaust is just going to shut her down until the stun is over and she's burst down. Nautilus really looking for something into 3 people though. He should just get run down here. Burns the flash. Anivia Q lands, but there's just not enough damage there.
I'm surprised Nore is kind of this tanky early on in the game. We know towers have been buffed significantly from this patch. I guess that's that triple extra
He did
resistance.
steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think through the Aftershock actually, so he got a lot of stats there.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense, yeah.
Looks like mid.
Wukong flashes in, goes for the ult. There is no flash on Talia, and this should just be the kill. Just a free pickup on an O stave from Nightstone trying to push one last wave.
It's a really
Looks like
great
they're
look, and
looking
then it looks like they can get Richard off of it too.
Yeah, they got 4 top side here.
Meanwhile, it looks like bot lane is the island in this game.
Olaf Q lands. Doesn't want to look for anything else. He just takes the free chip damage.
Once again, bot lane, I feel like if they don't put on the pressure here, like now that Nautilus is out of the lane, what is their game plan? Like, I don't think Lucian is going to outscale necessarily that well, so maybe they try and get a dive, maybe they try and rotate to help mid lane, because mid lane is kind of suffering. I want to know what's going through their heads.
Interesting itemization here coming from Cassio. She's going for, it looks like Everfrost into a team with only 2 melees. I would have liked to see the Leandries, especially on this patch.
For sure, but I mean, I wonder if he's just thinking about how I can help him against getting killed by Trundle, or maybe by, I don't know about by Camille, but Trundle for sure really helps a lot. Just letting him keep that distance, keep that leash range, where you can DPS Trundle safely.
Some fighting going on top, just some trades going back and forth, it looks like, but health bars are dropping, and maybe one day Olaf will pop the ult and just run her down.
Yeah. I do like the Olaf and the Wukong pickup really early on in the draft. They had their priorities straight. They saw the win rate of Olaf, they saw the kind of priority on Wukong throughout this patch and throughout MSI. And they just had their sights set on this team comp, basically, even from the very sort of draft. So.
Olaf Q lands. There is the Wukong with the ult, interrupts the E. Hextech ultimate comes out, but no flash on the champ on the Camille, and she just drops. No teleport either, so she's going to lose a pretty fair amount from this.
Yeah, I do
Wukong
like.
also does have the Rift Herald. Although it looks like they're going to be giving a Drake setup here. Infernal Drake is coming up in 20 seconds, and Trundle is bot side.
20 seconds. If Olaf just decides back right now instead of reading for anything here, he can definitely make it in time. It looks like they're just going to trade it instead, though.
It is difficult to walk into blue side. Ooh.
Cassio ult into the Nautilus, but there's just no damage under the tower. And now Nautilus is way too far forward, gets knocked back, pops the exhaust, and Cassio manages just down the Trundle, but on the backside, Nautilus gets taken down by Talia. Now Cassio is a little bit stuck between a wall and a hard place, but it looks like she manages to get out.
Yeah, and there's that interaction. Hooking into Talia, you get stunned, and the only thing you can do out of it is ultimate. There's really nothing else for you to do as Nautilus. Talia, this patch in the late game, especially when you get kind of 80, 85 CDR, I believe her E lasts 3 seconds and the cooldown is something like 4, maybe 5 tops. So it really just shuts out all those champions with long range engages, long range dashes.
Oh, looks like Zillion's getting caught a little bit, has to flash out over the Anivia wall. Yeah, no, but that's just going to be his summoner down for the next 5 minutes. Nautilus Q goes just short on the Trundle with the extra movement speed from his W.
If he burns ult there, I don't know if he necessarily lives. I think it's good to just commit the flash early. He can't be down for this dragon fight.
I'd agree, and I think his ult is more valuable on the top side of his map
sure,
also,
yeah.
instead of using
his
his
Olaf and Wukong are so strong. But it looks like Blue just gave up the dragon instead. I think Dexmax didn't want to rotate, wanted to get this yes. Even though I feel like with his bot side being this strong, maybe they had a chance.
Well,
I'd like to see
the
the play of that too.
Cassiopeia was also nearby, and she currently, on that back, just bought her Leandries, like Mr. Potato Senpai mentioned he would like to see. I wonder what that ruby crystal is building into.
Yeah, I'd like to see blue team play around their bot side like just a bit more this game. They're behind in every other role so far, so if they just play around their strong members and Lucian and Anivia, they might have a better fighting chance this game.
Anivia wall, and the Wukong buff comes through, just goes right back over that wall, takes the Lucian ult, and says, "Thank you very much for the Red Ward," and leaves.
Yeah.
30 gold in the pocket.
I actually really like this rotation. I don't know if Camille can even do anything in particular to the Zillion, and Olaf, this strong, he may be able to maybe set up a 2v2 or 3v2 dive and just take their bowling out of the equation.
This Olaf has eaten 6 turret plates now, I believe. 4 of them shared with the Wukong, of course. That's a lot of money in his pocket. Can we see the gold real quick, please? He is 1,000 gold up on Camille.
Yeah, so if we take away the 300 from the kill, he's effectively 600 or 700 gold just from plates alone. That's pretty good. Even sharing it with Wukong.
We might see a play up here on the Camille. She is a little far up.
Wukong goes over the wall. The Cassio ult and W come down to stop her from eating away, and that should be enough damage. The Q and E's land from Cassio, and Wukong picks up the kill. But meanwhile, mid lane, blue team is just going for the tower and stays too long almost. Oh, nope, they just baited it out. Nautilus says they stayed too long, and he just gets punished for trying to walk into 3 people, even under his own tower.
That ultimate from Trundle stole his Aftershock stats there, and so after the Aftershock wore off, he was actually left with a less armor and magic resist than he usually would have had.
Just coming down to Zillion. He has ult if he plays a little bit too far forward. And here comes Wukong in the backside with the ult. Cassio's here also. The exhaust comes down. So does the flash from Lucian. Talia has to flash away after the Cassio Q lands, and that's a lot of summoners burned. Anivia's kind of deep into enemy territory there. Let's see if she gets this recall. The Q lands again from Cassio, but the knockback onto Cassio gets the kill. And somehow, after all of the... 2 flashes from both supports, Wukong's here also to pick it up, and that should be a dead Anivia. Has no flash left to get away, goes into egg form, and there should be plenty of damage here to kill her.
Scrambled eggs. Part of a balanced breakfast.
Yeah, we see the Predator and Anivia trying to make a play in the mid lane. I really like the pick in the sense of he seems confident on the Anivia to set up those stuns with the wall where you kind of are forced to path into the stun. But really just kind of overstays his welcome, kind of steps up a little bit too far without his team, and pays the price.
Looks like we're seeing both top laners now in the bot lane. And Wukong is currently working on that Rift Herald. Curious to see if we're going to see a play mid lane, although it looks like Cassiopeia is going to pick up blue buff. So there is going to be a fight soon.
Yeah, we still have 1 minute on the dragon timer, but I hope both teams recall and come for this dragon. I think they're both kind of in a position to fight it now. I don't think they want to start giving these drakes, especially as it heads up toward Soul Point. Maybe blue team can trade the top tower for this dragon, but they already removed that mid tower from the equation, so I'd like to see them group up for mid push and then try and fight this drake out. They have a good team comp to do it as well.
We do.
I was going to say it's interesting to see the Cassio has an item advantage. Mid at least has that Seraph complete, which is a pretty huge power spike coming into this dragon fight over Talia.
How do you feel about the Seraph's changes? I know they have the like Rod of Ages kind of health from mana thing.
Some action going here. The hook lands on to Anivia, and she just disappears off the face of the earth. That a couple of ults and summoners burned, but now it's 4v5, and the dragon should just go to Sicer.
Yeah, I think the Anivia pick is strong, but it just seems like there's a really tough choice between when to wall aggressively and when to wall defensively. And you see there, she commits the wall aggressively and has just no defenses left for herself. So really, really well played by red team to capitalize on that. So blue team instead, yep, trades the top tower as I said before, and I think that's a net positive kind of for red team in general, but.
Cassie ult comes out. The Lucian ult comes to answer, and she just misses too much. Doesn't die. Gets out. Doesn't have to burn any sums from either side. But ult's traded, and Cassie is going to be off the map with her low HP.
Yeah, Derive is really pushing the tempo in this game. I don't know if he's just doing this out of his own character, but I really like to see this aggressiveness. It bodes well for the rest of the series. He's feeling himself, you know.
That Rift Herald there did get 2 charges off. We saw the outer tower, and now the inner tower brought down to 2/3. Is there a pick?
Cassie, you're getting some damage down, but she's pretty low health. If that knockup lands, she's just dead. Second Talia Q lands, and they're going to Zillion ult and block with Nautilus to try and get the mid laner out. Wukong comes in to try and stop the kill on Zillion. A TP from Olaf, and he's just going to run through everything, go for the Lucian through the exhaust, keeps hitting Camille, gets revived by Zillion, but now he's up with no ult, and he's just going to get taken down right out of the revive. And meanwhile, mid lane, though, Trundle living by the skin of his teeth off of Cassio's poison. Camille's going to keep going forward. Cassio's going to drop the miasma to try and block any further aggression. And at the end of the day, it's 3 for 1 on the side of blue team. That's huge for them. They're going to keep pushing for this mid tower.
That was really well played by the blue team. They're really back in control of the game, honestly. They're back. They have the gold lead now after this tower. They have good back timings to set up Baron here. And while they don't have the best Baron DPS, I think they have enough to threaten it. And definitely force red team into a fight they maybe don't want to take with all these cooldowns down. What do you guys think if they really do a not normal, but if they do a front to back 5v5 team fight, who do you think has advantage on between these two teams?
I'm tempted to say a red team purely because of their current lead. However, I think that blue team, especially with their Anivia wall, Trundle Pillar, and Lucian having his full gale force, versus the relatively short range engage or slash front line on red team, I think with some good execution, blue team can actually win a 5v5 fight. Also, I'm rather pleased to see that Lucian seems to be opting for an Essence Weaver this game rather than an often more popular collector.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Lucian on the current patch. Oh, there's fighting.
Olaf just on the pops the ult to dodge the knockup. Talia's going to flash away, but now Anivia is here, and he's pretty deep without anybody to help him. Just gets bursted down, traded for mid tower, but just tried to bite off a little more than he could chew.
Yep, and there's kind of one of the only downsides, I would say, of the rework of Olaf. I think on old Olaf there, he would still have his ult up for just a couple more seconds, so he can maybe escape, but as soon as you stop fighting on Olaf, you only have maybe 2.5 seconds to get out before you just lose that ultimate power and are back to being a regular old, I guess, Darius Light with axes, I guess.
Well, looks like red team's trying to contest this here a little bit, but blue team's actually going to pull off the Baron and maybe look for mid tower. Even numbers again.
Yeah, it just looks like the soul leaders are, for some reason, both going for the bot wave, but they just want to reset, get the tempo back, reset, and try and look for Baron again.
I actually see that the gold lead in the mid and jungle is closing. Talea and Cassiopeia are currently even on items, bar the stopwatch.
Actually, by gold, Talia's a bit ahead because she has 1,000 gold in pocket here without backing, so it's pretty interesting. It's swung back in her favor.
I'm curious to see if this is going to be a Shadow Flame or a Death Cap angle. Probably a Shadow Flame since she has Luden's Echo for the additional flat magic pen.
Yeah, I mean, the optimization from red team It looks like pretty favored against the AD here. They're really scared of the Trundle and the Lucian doing damage. But now that Talia has kind of gotten out of her laning phase where she wasn't doing that hot, she's kind of come into her own here, and I think they start itemizing against her as well. I don't think they can just buy Chain Vest on every champion. And Tabbies as well.
We do see the Ma on Wukong, so trying to deal with that a little bit. Blue team's going to start the dragon here. The teleport coming out from Olaf. No answer from Camille yet. Now she's coming in mid lane, but pretty far away. The dragon's starting to get burned down. The Anivia Q lands. The Nautilus hooks in onto Trundle, though. Just gets immediately blown up. Wukong and Cassio are in there trying to DPS down the team. Zillion ult on the Wukong. The Anivia ult just zoning everyone along with the Talia E. And it comes out 1-for-1. And then the Miasma lands. The Hextech ultimatum. There's so much damage going on. The Zanya's going to save Cassio. Wukong's going to get bursted down by Talia for a huge shutdown. And it ends up being 3-for-2. Cassio getting Zillion ults to go forward. Sorry, Zillion sped up. Anivia's going to drop. But meanwhile, really low health bars on the side of red. But it's barely enough. And it's a full clean ace with only 2 or 3 left alive on blue side. Or red side, sorry. They're going to go straight for that Baron. But those health bars are pretty low.
During that fight, Talia did manage to steal the dragon.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
I believe it was on something around 100 HP, and she just threw another rock.
Baron does go over.
It really is a game of inches. Just teamfight after teamfight going both directions. I really like how they play that teamfight, actually. Nautilus may have killed himself, but getting those picks is definitely worth the price of paying with his life. He just wasn't hesitating, basically, to pull the trigger on that team fight.
Big props to Cridians as well for that double bomb on Talia at the end of that fight there. Helped them pick up the Talia and ensure an uncontested Baron. See, Olaf is matching Camille with his Baron buff in the bot lane.
Yeah, I don't want to rewind for fear of maybe the stream bugging out, but those Zillion ults are huge. Like, they heal, I think it was Wukong, he was basically full health afterwards. Yes. They heal a lot, so red team really is fighting through 6 champions if they don't deal with the Zillion early on in the fight.
It's that 800 base plus 120 or 150% AP scaling? I don't actually remember.
Something along those lines. Well, it's enough that Wukong was almost full health, so effectively 6 champions in the team fights. And Zillion himself is really hard to pick, so the team comp seems to be working wonders for them in these skirmishes.
It's 200% AP healing, it looks like, for Zillion ult. That's pretty nasty.
Oh.
Yeah, so even going
fighting going on bot lane. Some huge damage to Camille, but I mean, Olaf has Baron minions and he's up a level. Up, not anymore, but some damage going through. He's healing it back. Camille's getting a little bit low, and Wukong's coming in here. Tower is pretty low, and if she doesn't just burst Olaf, she's going to die. It acts like an ultimatum. The shield comes out and is just enough to keep Olaf alive while they burst her down and get the tower.
Really, really close. Nice try from Dexmax to make the best of that situation, but
Ignite just comes up too.
Yeah,
that's
Ignite
tragic.
just comes up. He was maybe 100 health short.
The Talia wall blocks off Olaf. Wukong clones out. Olaf has to flash out. They knock up the Wukong clone, but that doesn't really matter. So they get out clean, and they might trade mid tower. The ult's coming out from Nautilus. Has to flash away from the Anivia Q. Trundle Pillar comes out, and nothing else happens. But still, minions pushing in 2 other lanes. Olaf gets knocked up, does not have his ult. He's just getting CC chained to death. Anivia wall, Talia, and Anivia just gunning him down. Gets the shield and just not enough health or damage, and gets shut down.
I think without his ultimate, he just can't commit to these fights. I mean, maybe he can do it with Zillion, but alone, he really has a hard time just getting through all of these zoning champions. It was a good play in the end. He did trade his life for the top inhib, so it was probably a calculated risk on his end, but it just feels bad to be in the Olaf situation there.
Looks like Dragon is up in 1 minute. Our red team is getting those reset timers. Also got quite a bit of vision in the blue side jungle there. We see that Lucian is on a ward.
Yeah, our opponent's
Hope we
pushing
see-
out ball wave instead of. Well, he should reset for the vision now, hopefully, and we should get another good fight over this Drake. Again, I think. I know blue team might be behind here, but I don't know if they can just bleed dragons. So I think they should just try and fight. And it looks like that's what they're gonna try.
Talia did buy them an extra 10 minutes though with that dragon steal earlier.
That's very true. Yeah.
I think they could be able to let this one go. Especially since it looks like they are not able to contest setup or vision in the bottom side. Looks like Trundle and Talia are both heading upwards, while Talia does have her ultimate available. She is just going to pick up the blue buff, and it looks like it's just going to be giving over the dragon.
Well, who do you think outscales if we let blue team? Oh, some action on the top side.
They're looking at Olaf here. The Talia ult coming in on top of the Camille. Olaf's trying to fight back. Does he have the damage to kill Camille? He's really going for it, but he does not. The Trundle Pillar stops him, and Camille lives with a sliver of health, and they get something back in exchange for that dragon on the bot side.
Yep.
Did Olaf have a shutdown there?
I don't believe so.
Oh, they did
Does
just kill
not
him.
look like it.
He did last time he died.
Yeah,
it looks
he did
like.
have the last time. Yeah.
Well, Baron is up in 1 minute, and looks like red team will now be able to establish vision on that side of the map. Once again, shout out to red team. I see jungler has 2 pink wards in their pocket. Unfortunately, top laner's inventory is full.
I think the D-Blade could maybe go, but it's a conversation for another time.
You know what? He bought. I believe I saw a minimum of 2 pink wards in his pocket earlier when he was laning, so I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to draw pressure on the side lane, so him not having pink ward kind of makes sense in that he's not necessarily going to show up to Dragon Baron and put that pink ward down until the fight starts.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going on Camille here, though. Hits the Q. Camille hookshots, misses the wall. It's not up for another 8 seconds. Olaf just going for it, trading ultimates, but he should have the damage here. Misses the Q, leaves it short, hits the second one, and the E is enough to finish off the kill. And now they just have bot side pressure. Baron is spawning.
Yep. Item advantage on Olaf. Level advantage on him as well, looks like. And he just goes for the kill. Very well played.
Talia is sitting on 4 items, though. We see she has both her death cap and her void staff. She's basically doing true damage here to actually only Zillion. Everybody else has their Maws, and Cassiopeia has a Negatron cloak.
Yeah, I wonder what's
Well, it's ulting in onto Olaf. There's no flash on him, so he is just trapped in there while the rest of the team collapses. More terrain coming in. He's really going for the Talia, but there should be enough damage here to just burst him down before he can get the kill, and he does die in exchange for the Baron. But meanwhile, red team is pushing down mid lane looking for that inhib.
Yeah. Heater actually playing really well this game in the sense that he is just taking pressure for the rest of his team as they take objective after objective. So he transitions that early game lead into well, I think at this point two dragons and a Baron. That's really well played from him.
That is a good def, as the boss would
That's
say.
a good def, yes. Yeah, so if you're blue team, you're really stuck here. 2 inhibs down, about to lose soul. I wonder what's their game plan. I think
they really just need to look.
Right?
Yeah, I think like use that Camille, use that Talia wall. I mean, you have so much terrain and so many tools to get picks. If you can get a big one on, like if Cassiopeia goes down before this fight, that's massive. And you see, she is the one pushing bot lane, but the rest of her team is kind of there to back her up.
Yeah, I wonder if Anivia and Talia together have enough zoning power to stop this push. They're both known for being very hard to push into champions, so let's see.
Pretty low econ Anivia though at support.
That's true, but she still. I mean, she may do less damage, but she still has all the CC she's known for, so that's something.
It's true. It looks like maybe throwing a Q in a wall just leaves it a little bit short of the Zillion. Meanwhile, they're splitting pressure. Top inhib comes back up. Nautilus just gets knocked up by Talia almost its entire health. There's the Zillion ult burned on the Nautilus. Now it's not there for the Wukong or the Olaf or the Cassio, who's just walking really far forward. The Lucian ult comes down. It's going to get blocked. And a little bit of action coming out outside. Nivea Q lands onto Olaf. He has his ult. He has flash. He should be fine.
He's boxed in.
And they're just trapping him in there. Pops the flash gets out and about half health. But they are keeping them stuck in their blue team stuck in their base while the dragon is spawning in about a minute. So you can deny some vision that way.
Yeah, so I guess that's the combo that they kind of imagined in draft. Plays out really well there for them. And Olaf had to commit the flash immediately, basically.
Team really just decided they wanted to play Fortnite instead of League. Just building the whole time.
Yeah, I wonder how well they think they scale into the red team comp. I know Lucian is deceptively good at scaling. Late game, he does like blow up people really fast if he combos properly. But he does have a really hard time into Wukong and Camille. Not Camille. Wukong and Cassiopeia, especially with the ground.
Wukong's pretty far away from this fight. It looks like he's trying to wrap around for a flank here, maybe.
Yeah, they don't have any vision. This could be a huge flank.
Nautilus just goes in, flash over the wall from Wukong, massive ult, carried up with the Olaf, and the fight is just so split. Cassio is DPing on the backside. Lucian drops. Looks like Camille's almost about to drop as well. Trundle down also. Olaf is running down the Talia. She's going to drop. And this should be a Nivea unless she can get away from the Olaf here. And the slow might be enough. Camille is trying to reset, maybe use that TP with the health regen from base. But Nivea is running away from her base, trying to buy as much time as she possibly can. But she's going to drop into passive. And it looks like red team might be starting to push for the win here now that they have Soul. And Camille's just going to get ever frosted. She's going to get ground. She's just going to get stunned. CC locked until the end of the game. And she's just going to die with a huge minion wave pushing in. It looks like Sice is trying to go for the win.
Yeah.
5 seconds on both Trundle and Lucian. And this should be it.
I don't know if they can do it. Right.
It looks like it's just enough damage.
A good game from the red team. A little bit shaky in the mid game. But they played through their winning top and mid and just made it happen. So really well played to them.
Their team fights were really good. They played for the team fight win condition pretty well. They had a couple of hiccups, but overall their mid to late game was strong.
I think Str8th also, or Str8th? Is it Str8th or Str8th? Also made a couple of good picks there in the mid game, taking advantage of their team comp. So valiant showing, and excited for the next match. Riot Games? Riot Games?
Well, we can see Decalex's runes. Alright, guys, so that's a lot of grass peeling, actually. Ooh, that's pretty good. He's got 3 biscuits. I'm surprised he didn't get any more than 3 biscuits. Yeah, I think he should have gotten more biscuits. Maybe that was the reason why he didn't win topside. Maybe a couple more biscuits the next time.
Biscuits used to give you 4 cookies.
Did it? It's also worth more gold when you sold them, and that they nerfed that.
I remember being worth 30 gold and having like 4 of them.
It also used to, way back in the day, replace your regular pots. So you could get as many of them as you wanted.
Oh, total biscuit rejuvenation way back in the day.
Yeah, that was masteries, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Careful, sirs, your ages are showing. What is it? Back in my day, we had a dangerous scheme instead of Triumph. Was it called dangerous?
Oh yeah, instead of. I think it was instead of Triumph. Yeah. We had Fervor instead of Conquer. I miss Fervor.
The good old days where I played Attack Speed Fervor and Battle Soda mid lane. To be gold again.
I don't know if that's a thing that many.
I swear there was more than just me that built Rapid Fire Cannon on Soda.
I can't say that I've ever seen that.
Well, if Twisted Fate can buy it, I don't see why we have to discriminate against enchanters with auto attack enhancements.
That's true. Get that really long range E slow.
Exactly. It's
Power E
the,
slow.
the cleanest picks.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
what draft adaptations do you want to see out of Nori's team, out of Str8th for this new game? I know I meme on them for having their name being Str8th, but I still think they want to win this game. So for this series rather, what do you think that they're gonna do here? I think the Talia was still a good pick. I think the Talia really in the mid to late game was just shutting out a lot of the engages that and a lot of the opportunities that red team Sice Derive's team was trying to take, but I wonder if they could pick a different top or a different or ADC, not ADC, sorry, bot lane to put on the pressure bot lane because it seems like they have a good matchup players wise in the bot lane.
I was gonna say, I think for their bot lane, yeah, if Sice me Drive is gonna go something like Zillion Nautilus, you almost get a free lane there, right? You could grab some good skills that are a little bit better than the Lucian. I know that Kog'Maw and Vayne are both really, really strong on this patch. It doesn't have to necessarily be one of them, but just maybe a ADC who scales it better and can kind of swing the DPS in those team fights a little bit more towards their side.
I'd really like to see a Vayne pick out of either team here. I think she's a really exciting champion to watch, and she's not half bad this patch. I'm curious if we can maybe see a Vayne Anivia with this fancy condemn wall behind. I think that'll be really spicy.
That would be
Actually, I'm curious if Sice Me Derive is going to be banning any or banning out something from the previous games such as Zillion or Wukong, if they're going to or if they're going to still go for the Talia because they're swapping sides, right?
It looks
yes,
like
they're
yeah, it looks like Sice Drive has asked for blue side this time. Just to make sure everyone knows, after the game, the other team gets to choose. It is not. It doesn't just flip flop. The other team gets to choose which side they want after each game.
I'm curious to see if Seismic Drive is going to pick the Talia here, or if they're going to pick Wukong again as their first pick.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty interesting. I think that both Derive and Sicer play a decent amount of Talia, if I remember correctly. So them prioritizing that pick might be the case. Yeah.
Although then I do wonder which of those champions, if any, if either, Red Side is going to ban in this scheme.
a little bit difficult. I don't remember what they banned. They banned the triple AD carries last game, right? That was
They banned
RL
Graves, Kindred, and
Senna, I believe,
Senna.
right?
There, yeah. Graves, Kindred, Senna. So
I think those
maybe,
are all
I mean, I think the feeling is that if they don't ban, or rather, if they do ban Wukong, then Talia gets banned, and they wanted to make that trade. Uh, it does look like the Olaf was a problem in the top side because he definitely into the late game started drawing lots of pressures because he was winning that 1v1 I think almost the entire game. So maybe I'd like to
yeah.
see an Olaf ban if the top lane doesn't have a response to that Olaf pick. If not, then maybe you trade it with something else. Maybe giving away, try to force them into giving away the Wukong.
Maybe we'll see one of the other sleeper OPs. I think like Zillion and Olaf are both flying a little bit under the radar, but really strong. I think the most under the radar, really strong champion right now is Lilia top. Maybe they'll pull that out as an Olaf counter.
Lilia top? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to see Dexmax. If Dexmax has the Lilia top pocket pick, I'd like to see him pull it out. That would be really fun and a really interesting time to do it. I don't know if holding onto pocket picks until losers bracket is the way to go. So I mean, better pull them out now than later. I think.
I I would assume she's probably going to hit in 12.10B, honestly. So might as well just do it now.
Right.
Give
Right.
us a good game to watch.
Yeah. I think I like Lilia actually a lot into a lot of the team comps that I've seen. I think into Wukong Olaf, just a little bit more defensive items, and she can put on a lot of sustained DPS and not get caught. Just throwing Qs and throwing Es.
Yeah.
Any ban predictions in terms of what Sice Me Derive is going to do?
I don't remember what they banned last game.
I believe there was the Garen. Ah, there it is again.
Yeah.
Respect ban, Dexmax's main champion. Curious to see if Arl spawns. Oh, it's not a ban. It's a run back drop.
I imagine they banned Kindred again, and then I think the third ban might change. Oh, Zillion instead.
I think Zillion definitely enabled a lot of the very aggressive plays that Sice Me Derive made last game. Especially with the Cassiopeia and Wukong often just running straight forward into the enemy team.
I really like that ban. Now it's just a question of do they ban Kindred or Graves, like leaving one of those up, or even maybe something else?
I think they might ban
Yeah.
either Wukong or Tole. Oh, actually, no. So they banned Van on the blue side, so I guess we're not seeing either of those two bans. So I don't want to leave one up and not pick the other one.
Right. So you can't ban one here. It's interesting that they want to go for that trade again. It worked out for them last time, right? But interesting to see if they take Talia or Wukong, given the choice. The Olaf ban comes in. So they actually leave up both Graves and Kindred here.
Olaf, I believe Dexmax does play a lot of Camille, and Olaf is, like you said earlier, a very tough matchup for her. Run out of the Hextech ultimatum, can't get stunned by hookshot, and just beats up Camille when she's close to his face. Looks like blue side is taking the Wukong pick again, and red side just
Once
takes away
again,
the
trading
Talaya.
Talia Wukong. They think that
Salty
Talia's the
run back
answer.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a
Looks
lot
like
of
red
draft
side just
hesitation.
says.
Go ahead, sorry.
So I was gonna say they just say, hey, if we take Olaf and Zillion out of that team comp, we're just gonna win if we run it back. So what do you have?
Right. I think that's a really, really interesting proposition. I mean, I think Zillion for sure seemed like kind of their antithesis. They couldn't find the picks that they wanted with their terrain. They couldn't kind of run up on these champions that are relatively immobile without the Zillion speed. And so I think taking away the Zillion, and they have a lot better chance.
It looks like this is going to be a Gragas top lane to try and neutralize the Camille lane. Although I do believe Camille outscales that. Curious to
Yeah.
see what they're going to blind here.
They might almost just pick mid and then say or support and try and save your 80 carry and mid lane to kind of get the best of those in the second half. Like we said, maybe getting one of those more scaling ADCs if the kind of passive bot lane comes through again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong team though. That was
No, I mean it still makes sense though. If you see the Zillion Nautilus pick up, then holding your ADC pick until later might make sense. They decided to go here with Zaya. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It definitely works
Get
well with
away.
Wukong and Gragas for sure. She even has good sustained DPS for the late game if she builds kind of Kraken Slayer and Crit. So
yeah. I don't like the lethality build anymore on Zaya.
the
I think it's
lethality
pretty
build has
bad.
fallen off. It got nerfed several times, and especially nowadays, Crit is a lot better on most. Actually, I think almost every ADC is better at Crit right now. So yeah.
Notable honorable mention to Dogma, who very much is still in love with Rageblade. That's a Renata ban. Interesting.
Yeah.
Bones has to go
Looks like
deep into support pool here. Maybe pull out another Anivia. Who knows?
I think we're gonna see another mid ban here. Maybe like a Syndra or something like that. Something that can or a return
Swain, maybe?
kill or escape ganks.
Vagar.
Vygar ban. Honestly, I don't know if that's the best ban, but I have a personal vendetta against Vigar. Thank God.
Same. Yeah, same. I think it's okay into the Tilly. Like you just try and scale, but I don't think that it's as good as some other picks. I think like Swain would be a really good answer to the Tilly here, maybe.
Yeah, Swain would be okay. Swain's really, as a Swain player, I think he's really bad into Camille and Zaya in general, but
That's true.
it wouldn't be terrible considering his team comp is also like very much engage focused, so he probably won't take a bunch of the hits.
The
Oh, that's
Blitzcrank
spicy.
Great.
That's
into
spicy.
Nautilus too. I mean, who do you want to pull out of that team right now? Right? I mean, Wukong, Gragas, Nautilus.
Well, no,
I think they're just hoping to be able to, because Sice me Derive tends to pick those cheesy, vulnerable bot lanes. They're just hoping to hook anyone in the early game and hopefully kill them.
Yeah, I think that's actually the case, and I actually really like this adaptation. Nautilus into Blitzcrank is not the easiest matchup. Blitzcrank is actually tankier than him almost the entire game. And Nautilus goes Aftershock. All Blitzcrank has to do to counter that is also go Aftershock. And if you have enough reaction time, Nautilus hooks you, you hook him at the same time, and you always win that trade. So I really like that adaptation. I think pushing the tempo bot side was basically the biggest advantage they had that last game, and if they do it again, then they have a really good fighting chance. Take the series back under their control.
The Akshan lock-in.
This is so spicy. Is that an?
And
Where is that action going? Mid?
It's mid. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, but into Talia, I don't like that matchup. It'd be
And
interesting
he
to see though.
I imagine he
kill
has
her?
some technology. He has some dark technology, presumably here. Oh, and they flex the Talia into the jungle. Welcome, one and all, to nowadays what is Talia?
I would have liked to see a Pantheon pick there.
Galio auction.
I don't see. I actually like the Akshan side of that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was. Well, they must have some plan here because Galio plays for the side lanes. They do have the extraordinarily lethal Camille Galio combo for the mid late game, especially when Galio can get out of laning phase. Definitely threatening to lock down that Ziggs, who's going to have to buy an early Zanya's, maybe second or third item to not get blown up immediately in every team fight. Auction as well has a hard time escaping that. I don't think he has any tools actually to get out of that besides buying a GA or a stopwatch. So
Possibly if he
Yeah.
tries to wall swing anywhere near Talia, he just gets stunned and insta dies.
yeah, I think all Camille has to do is commit the ultimate early, and Akshan just is gonna have a hell of a time getting away from these champions.
I really, really hope we see some spicy 4-man, 5-man bot lanes here with the Talia and the Gallia on the map.
Yeah, they just pick globals the comp here for Sice Me Derive. It's how good their macro is, right?
Especially since Ziggs, I feel like Ziggs bot lane into Zaya, Ziggs is most likely gonna auto push into that lane. We'll see. Actually, out of curiosity, how does the jungle matchup go here? Wukong into Talaya. Can Wukong ever kill Talaya early? Does she just throw the rocks down and Wukong cries?
I would think just in general, like Wukong doesn't like magic damage because of his passive,
Mhm.
but I don't know enough about jungle to tell you how that matchup would go. If I had to guess, it would be kind of just flipping a coin, but I'd say probably Talia favored.
I am going to agree with that. I think since he can't really get into her face because going into her face means he gets stunned at the end of that dash. Curious to see if we're going to get another invade this time by Str8th. They do have the Blitzcrank. Maybe they'll just both run it down mid, meet in the middle, and we'll see who hooks who.
I mean, once again, if they do trade hooks and if Blitzcrank goes Aftershock, he is the tankier champion. He does have increased base health and armor over Nautilus. He does have a automatic shield at 30% health, so it's definitely favored for him. But their level 1 isn't necessarily the best. Talia's okay. Wukong's pretty strong though, and Auction is also very strong in the right hands. So,
Akshan also has that resurrection passive.
well, he's not skilling W
Oh,
level 1, so that would be off the table.
right.
Also, to be a pretty long fight to revive somebody and run all the way back.
That's also true, right? I mean, we may see that in the LPL. Well, I mean,
We've seen it in the LPL.
oh, I've seen it more than once in the LPL, yeah.
There's also been a couple of instances where the person who got resurrected just teleported to tower and ran straight towards the fight again.
Yeah. So let's go back. I want to know, now that we've seen one game, can we get some serious predictions? Now this is kind of biased, I know, but can we get a prediction out of at least one of you guys?
I think it's hard to say between 2-0 Sice Derive and 2-1. I don't really like the Auction pick, but then the Galio to swing it back. I think probably 2-0. I think there's just kind of a good matchup in almost every lane, except for maybe bot and jungle. But I also like the team fight better out of Sice Derive here. So 2-0, I'll say.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. I mean, I don't want to change stances here this early on. I'm going to say this early on, we're halfway through, maybe. But I think that Str8th can still pull out a victory in this game. They neutralize the Camille topside, but if Galio and Talia can start roaming before Wukong and Akshan can put the pressure on them, and they play smart on the vision so they don't path into a bad 2v2 fight, because I don't think the 2v2 is necessarily better, then they can definitely put the pressure on this Ziggs Nautilus ball lane and try and blow up the game from there.
So we do definitely have to give a bit more credit to Str8th. The last game with the Talea and the other two Terrain characters rather, they did make some great picks, especially in the mid game, nearly taking back the game actually. And this game, they've got even more global backup for the Talea with the Galio. So I think if Str8th comes out strong in the early to mid, they can definitely take this match. So for the sake of credit, I'm gonna say Str8th can do it. I'm gonna say Str8th can take this game, but
Well,
you know, okay, no, I'll say Str8th is gonna get 2-1 Sice Derive.
I'll put it this way: if they win, they win. Good for them. If they lose, they're on track for a world record in the DMV or any percent. So, split one. I think the last time split one happened, it was something around like 2.5 hours because the format was different. So they're really on track for a really strong first split in this DMV Rivals any percent run. So really, they're the winners either way. Let's be honest.
It's true.
It's that win-win situation. Optimism. Murphy was an optimist.
One thing I will say for Str8th's compute is I think that Talia will be a lot more relevant even than last game, just because her utility is a lot stronger when you don't have to deal with Zillion, Cassio, and Olaf just outrunning the knockup. You have a bunch of champions with dashes, right? The Akshan, the Wukong, the Gragas, and even the Ziggs with his W. If you get super lucky, she can have a lot more value with her E this game, I think.
Actually, it does look like every single character on the blue team has a dash. And Nautilus's dredge line does pull him towards the target.
It's true.
It's like we are going to see an invade from Str8th, the while Sice Derive is going to go for a more classic 5-point. Oh, that's a ward coming out rather than sitting in the bush and waiting.
Yep.
A tactical decision.
5 men into the bot. Classic Blitzcrank maneuver. I think blue team will probably expect it, trade vision topside, and maybe even start the red buff on the top side. I think the
It's
top
like-
side. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it just looks like Wukong is going to recall.
Yeah. I'd like to have seen them fight for that top side. I think their 2v2 or 3v3 actually is probably better level 1. So
Well, Galio did start the Predator boots.
yeah, this is the caps itemization. Predator boots. And well, I say caps itemization, caps went refill pot, but
Agreed.
Yeah, this is more gold efficient. You spend all of your gold instead of sitting on 50 for the whole game.
yeah. I mean, you take the bad matchup. I think the extra pot could be really helpful to not get kind of zoned off too hard. Derive
Spoiling
using
come out
that,
here already at level 1.
yeah, Derive using that. I'm gonna say feature where the minions don't aggro you at level 1 for some reason.
It's to minimize people pulling the wave, which still happens anyway, just not in mid lane anymore.
Yeah, but that lets him get a really, really good trade on the Galio, who I guess wasn't expecting that the minions wouldn't aggro, and Galio has to probably will pop a pot eventually here, just for that level 1 trade.
I think we
Actually,
did see the
top lane
animation.
too, but-
Sorry?
I guess I was seeing some action come out already top lane, trading back and forth. Camille gets a second kind of free damage trade there and ends up in health. Ignite already going down mid lane, looking for the kill, but just doesn't have the damage.
Yeah, really
And
close.
Sun does have TP if he wants to.
I think
back and come.
one of the minions was marked, so like Derive was looking for that solo kill. He thought that Night's Dawn was solo marked, so if he hits the E, then all of the bullets go to the Galio. But I think one of the minions was marked earlier, so just a small miscalculation on his part. Was really close to getting a kill there.
Like Galio's just gonna chug the pots instead of backing.
Yeah, it's the power of 4 pot,
See-
but he's still down a lot of CS in this matchup, and losing mid prio off of it too. He's getting invaded.
Looks like bot lane is responding.
Yeah, they do need to get out of there. Bot lane is going to be a lot sooner. They have that Blitzcrank just go for burst. Looks like Akshan's going to try and take the 2v1, goes right into both of them, and it looks like he's just going to get punished for it. First blood goes to the Blitzcrank, traded back onto Talia. Nautilus flashes for Xayah, who flashes away, and it looks like that'll just be it. 1-for-1 jungle for mid.
It was actually beautiful out of RL Spawn. He knocked up the action and then flashed towards his Galio to pull the action into the taunts.
Yeah. Classic Blitzcrank combo, E flash away into hook. It is flashable if he doesn't do it perfectly, but really well played from him.
I don't think Derive or action feet ever touch the ground.
Yeah.
Wave also isn't pushing quite that fast. Looks like Xayah will be able to pick up most of that in the bot lane. Just gonna lose one melee minion, but there is a cannon in there.
But I think that's really smart from the red team in the sense that they kind of understand that their mid lane match, because of the mid lane matchup, they just want to keep making plays around Galio. If Galio can get out of the lane and take river fights, he'll be much, much stronger, or kind of neutralize his weakness in laning a phase against Akshan. Galio is outside of lane in the river, no joke. Even in lane he's good, but maybe not the greatest in this matchup in particular. And here we see again.
Galio predatoring in onto Akshan. There's flash up, but he needs to get out. He uses the flash. The CC is kind of out for red side. It looks like they'll just take that, throwing some more Qs in from Talia, but not enough damage. Flash burned, and he'll get out.
Well, I want to point out that Galio has flash. Galio still has flash available. If he doesn't respect this, he will get comboed. So really,
Especially
good.
with that Blitzcrank having around.
Yep. So getting his flash for free makes this lane a lot harder for him. He can't just disrespect the Galio and walk up like all he wants, especially with this low health bar.
like Blitzcrank is looking for in mid lane again and channeling that Hex Splash.
Goes over the
the
wall.
hook.
Akshan
Ooh.
ease away. Gets out for free.
Yeah, but for the first time in the game, Akshan doesn't have push into Galio. Galio gets first move. Let's see what they do.
Oh no!
Ooh. Oh,
Talia
she's
stuns
big.
the Wukong into the taunt, into the knockup. He W's out, flashes towards his mid laner. Nautilus is there. Do they have damage? The Camille also going in topside, back and forth. Nautilus hooks into 3 people with only Ziggs to back him up. Ziggs is going to get cut off by the Xayah, and they're going to start focusing him. Blitzcrank looking for the knockup of a hook. He gets rooted by the Xayah. Do they have the damage? He has no flash. The Ignite comes through. One more auto, and he should tick down here. Meanwhile, they are chasing to try and trade back a kill, but it looks like that will be it. Just 1 kill over to red side.
Yeah, I'm really liking this Galio play. Like, he accepted his loss in the lane, but he's getting his jungler to move around him. He's getting his mid to move around him, and as soon as he moves out of that lane, they find these picks in the jungle. They find these picks in the bot lane, and you know that kind of weakness he has against Akshan with the counter pick is kind of just gone. So really well played to the mid jungle duo here from the red side. Really just a textbook maneuver. Go ahead.
Looks like we're getting a boost of mobility on the Blitzcrank. So we're gonna see a lot of 3-mans everywhere on this map. With Blitzcrank following Talia, Galio now has access to his ultimate ability. It's gonna be a little rough.
Yeah.
It's interesting that top lane. We said it was the Gragas counterpick to the Camille to neutralize it, but Camille's actually up a little bit of CS even with this way pushing into her. So we'll see how that goes because I think late game in this lane, Camille should definitely be stronger.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gragas is supposedly neutralizes her all game. I think there's like some kind of CDR cutoff there where you just E her E every time. And then eventually,
Also,
you alter ult and E her E. So as long as you have enough CDR to do that, and you're tanky enough to not get bursted, then I think you just neutralize over the entire game. But I do want to see if they can transition this bot mid lead that they have into top, because I think if they get a good Camille Galio combo, they can get maybe not a free kill, but really good chance at getting a lot of it done. A really nice roam here actually from Nautilus up to top side. I like that a lot.
They do have 4 people in that top side. Oh, Camille is just gonna back off. It looks like
Galio hopefully looks for the dive here. I want to see Galio start rotating down.
Ziggs actually knocks Blitzcrank closer, flashes away. Meanwhile, the Nautilus hook mid lane onto the Galio. He's going to fly away, ignited and exhausted. Tower shot hits Nautilus, not enough damage here to kill him. But Ziggs is being zoned off this entire wave right now.
Yeah. I think Galio... Oh, another fight on the top
Some
side.
more action.
Just a little bit of trading, though.
this Gragas passive sustain plus his poke is really... Actually, can Camille get her health back in this lane? Or is she just a little upset?
If she walks up to the W, oftentimes it can end up being more than she asked for, damage-wise. So it's really... What she's doing, I think, is what you're supposed to do. You just...
Talia
if he
coming in mid on the Akshan. His flash is still down, so he's just going to get CC chained and die. Blitzcrank is here also, same with Nautilus. Blitz might look for the hook on the Wukong into a CC combo.
He has sums.
He gets silence, he gets ignited. Raptors finish it off with the Galio Q, and the Ignite takes him down. Blitzcrank also hooks Nautilus through the Talia E for the stun. The dredge line will pull him to safety, though. And man, that's just 2 kills over to red side.
Can't disrespect the 500 plus damage burst on Blitzcrank. You think he's gonna be a weak support champion, and he one-shots you. But once again, like...
That's an interesting...
So go ahead.
So an interesting combo that I didn't even think about was the Blitzcrank Talia. You just pull her over the E. That's a lot of extra damage and free stun.
Yeah. Although it's not that easy to land, but if you can land it, definitely almost a free kill. Yeah, once again, like Galio's weakness in laning phase it just looks like it's non-existent. They took this counter pick and they couldn't push the tempo with the Wukong and with the bot lane not being there.
But coming through from Nautilus, Knock will come back through and they'll just both walk away with full health bars.
Yeah. Interesting taking
Well,
Glacial Augment on Blitzcrank. It's a pretty common pick, but I wonder if he's just not scared of any pressure bot lane at all. I don't know if he's tanky enough necessarily to take a 2v2, but I guess he's just
What up there?
throwing it out there.
I think
Herald.
Glacial
With the
really
Ziggs.
enables the. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, Herald and Ziggs bombs have to drop the tower from basically full health there. Just get the free first tower at 11 minutes.
Yeah, this is shoutouts to like what Worlds or MSI from a year ago. That's how you play Zigbot now. Blow up the tower, rotate the mid lane.
Nautilus in action, looking for something mid, but Guy is just going to taunt and walk away. It's fighting going on top side. Also, good Everfrost
Big
into
combo.
the queue from Galio to put Camille low. But it looks like there's not going to be much else
Yeah,
there. Oh, he's going to flash
all-in
E
combo.
into the ult, into the queue.
Oh my god.
Just the perfect Bomba combo to get the kill. And Blitzcrank is a little bit far forward here with Wukong going in with the ult. Blitzcrank flash
Really
is
close
up,
Oh my god.
but he doesn't need to use it. Auction ult coming through, but it shouldn't really do anything here. And that will just be an ult used from Wukong. Except then Nox comes in with his ult onto the Talia, knocks up the Blitzcrank, hits the hook, and Wukong will come in to do enough damage. Auction flashes forward, looking for the kill. Xayah ult flash for tons of damage onto Auction to drop him there, but there's just not enough to finish it off, and Nautilus will get dropped on the other side in 2 for 1, once again for red side.
Blitzcrank's
Getting
mobies
some
are
damage.
kicking in though. He might be able to hook this.
Ooh,
Oh.
close. Very close on the timing there. Yeah. And the bot side of the map just working wonders. Nore getting caught out a little bit, but in the end, it still works out.
Dragon is coming up and Talia is going to get there first. Wukong just started his reset. Oh, looks like she's just gonna go for the clear. Nautilus is going top river. Looks like they're actually gonna trade a Ziggs and Nautilus top, looking to take the place on that top tower.
Yeah, I'd like to see Wukong probably just skip the red buff and go directly top here if they're gonna do this. Looks like he's still pathing to red and gonna clear up toward top. Depending on how long it takes for them to do this Drake, they may be able to answer this by top lane though, so.
Looks like they're just gonna give over the dragon uncontested.
Yeah. Their team fight
Huh?
is still pretty good if Gragas shows up. He does a lot of damage and, you know, as we just saw, his combos are on point today, so. If he pulls that off in a crowded team fight, he could get multiple kills. And really set his team up.
That's another tower into Ziggs' pocket. He did miss the last 2 plates though. Or 14 minutes. Just barely.
Looks like they're looking to trade back this mid tower, maybe on next wave if Ziggs doesn't come down in time to help clear that wave.
We do have Galio and Gragas bot side. Both of them do have their teleporting abilities. Gragas with
Really
his
nice.
actual.
Everfrost. And it was a really nice dodge for Galio on Gragas with his own. He's going to fight back. Gragas has a lot of damage reduction. He's also leveled up with a better ultimate, and he will use it there through the taunt. Galio is now on the other side of Gragas from his team, but the Blitzcrank will come in to try and save, and now Gragas might be the one in trouble with Xayah coming down to maybe look to clean up that kill.
Yeah.
She's going to try and DPS. Gragas should have his E back up here soon, and the Gale Force is enough to clean her up. You know, Notice 1v1ing the Talia. I don't know if you want to take that fight. The rest of her team, and Blitzcrank is coming up with his Moby Boots to try and clean up that kill, but Talia might just have enough damage on her own. Ziggs throwing out the mines to slow her down and get his support to safety, and it will be enough. Just 1 kill over to the Xayah on red side.
Yeah. Teacher, overstaying is welcome, not doing enough damage to that Galio. Galio is known for being really tanky against AP champs, and it seems to hold up.
a little more action topside, but it looks like Derive is just going to swing on out of there. They might try and fight over this Herald. There's a TP coming from Gragas in mid lane. Galio does not have his to answer, so this might just go over to blue side. It looks like it will.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see a fight there, but they decide to just give it up.
Well,
I think if
I
Galio
think they were out of range of the Galio ultimate. He also didn't really have any hit points.
Yeah, I personally would like to see him just drop that wave back just a little bit earlier, because I think if they take a good fight there, they can blow up this game. But it's respectable to also just go for the safe play. Don't force a fight that you don't necessarily need to.
I suppose they do have Hex Gates, which allow Galio and Talia to get into range for their ultimates a little bit quicker than they usually would.
So I like this change of pace, putting Galio into the Gragas. He is out of the mid lane, which makes it much harder for him to ult the targets that he wants to. But I think Akshan into Camille is just, with Akshan being this far behind, Camille has a good chance of just solo killing him depending on whether his sums are up.
Nautilus tries for the dredge line cancel, but it gets canceled again by the knock-up from Galio. He will be able to get out, though, burning his flash.
Yeah, once again, he's trying to push vision. His team's behind. Oh, all in here.
Akshan going in all the way on Camille. She will flash out. He will burn the ult, but she will get out, flash for ignite.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Dragon is.
Oh my god. Lots of
and
action.
some action going on mid lane. The Talia, the Blitzcrank, the Zai all there. Ziggs will flash out to the other side of Talia wall and get out with just that, taking the Gale Force and the ult from Zaya and Talia, respectively.
Yeah.
There's also just over a minute to Dragon, and some important abilities will not be available.
Respect.
Zaya coming out.
Zaya wasn't sure about how close Wukong was. That's a really big cooldown. Blue team might actually be able to take this fight. They have a lot of cooldowns in the back pocket that they have available for this fight.
They do also have Galio ultimate. And Camille has her teleport ability up while Action took Ignite.
Yep, but their timing is better here. Heater's on the way. He's a bit low on mana, but he's here for this fight, and Camille is pushed all the way in. If they find a good pick here, they can definitely take this dragon.
They do have a really good flank ward, kind of deep by Raptor Pit for red side. Ziggs ult comes out. Gragas is in there, but he's pretty deep. Almost a tower. Wukong comes in with the ult, and the Blitzcrank ult will not be enough to save him, or will it? Actually, okay, he dies, but so does Nautilus. The Camille ult onto the Wukong is enough to pick him up, and now Galio and Camille are going to look for the Gragas. Meanwhile, the Akshan's fighting the Zaya and the Talia on the backside, which is about to get collapsed on by the Predator from Galio and the Camille, who will E-forward. It will be flashed, but then Galio will get the kill. Gragas E-flashing in to pick up the return kill. The taunt from Galio will land. The side E from Talia is enough to kill Zig. She lives on a sliver of health and picks up the Gragas with, 2 HP left to spare. Played really far forward, but played that really well. Had that calculated to the last digit of HP.
Yeah. Crazy team fight. Once again, just the Galio maybe in laning phase, losing to Heater, losing to Akshan, not his fault, really just the champion, but coming out of the laning phase into the team fights, he just does so much.
Wukong's going to go in for the smite steal attempt. He's not going to get it, but he used his clone, so he can't get back over that wall without his flash, which is down. He's just going to give the free kill over. Baron spawning in 8 seconds. They want to make a play for it with the dead jungler, but their health bars are a little bit low for it.
Yeah.
So, earlier in that fight, we did see Blitzcrank live for so long. That was the Glacial Augment there, coming in handy, dropping a giant slow field in the middle of the Galio ultimate as well.
Yeah, good combo to keep locked in there.
So this game actually kind of spiraling out of control for the blue team. Is kind of slipping from their hands. Akshan wasn't able to make a big dent in the early game, so the team fighting of red team just putting on the tempo, putting on the pressure. Baron is on the table now. They do have enough DPS to take it with the combination of Talia and Zarya, and I guess Camille also, if she shows up, will do good damage to it. So I'd like to see them start setting up for that. Putting Camille in the bot lane. Actually, well, Galio's fine because he has TP. But keeping Galio ready at any time to ult in and try and get a pick so they can take that Baron.
And a spicy item pickup here by Galio. That's a second item, Demonic Embrace. It's actually
Good
going to be
combination.
Interesting.
A good combination of damage and health for somebody who's going to be, in the middle of the enemy team without the aftershock to get from the extra tank stats. It'll be nice.
Yeah. I think, well, you probably believe like Azonia's third here. I'd like to see him build a little more tank itemization for all of those AD sources on the other team.
Auction looking to try and pick off the Talia, but he's just going to get collapsed on. He's actually going to get the kill with the Ignite, but he is going to die with the Galio ult and the Blitzcrank coming in to trade it back.
Yeah, if I'm Dimitri, if I'm Derive, I call Worf. That's a shutdown for him. And Akshan does scale on gold. He's not one of those noodle mid laners who doesn't. So
I believe he actually he got the kill from the grave, right? So his 0-5 scoreline means there was only probably 176 gold going over for the 300 that he got back.
Yeah. Something along those lines, maybe even less considering his mid lane opponent is 4-0.
Yeah.
So it also
Is
kind
blue
of
team...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask if blue team's Baron is any good here. We do have the Kraken Slayer on action and a Leandri's Torment on 6. And Wukong also does quite a bit of damage.
It's
to
definitely
Baron.
slower than the red teams. I'd like to see... Honestly, I'd like to see them just bait it and have Ziggs poke. But maybe a bit too early for that. Only 22 minutes. The teams don't really feel pressured into doing something like that, especially with the next dragon coming up in 2 minutes.
We might look here onto Akshan. She'll go over the wall. She has ult up. Akshan is just really low in the Hextech. He just does not have the HP to survive here, and Camille will drop him with a minute and 38 left on that dragon spawn timer.
It's also the full one or a full 300 gold there.
Galio going in, but not going to get much. He's just going to hit the Galio or the Wukong clone and back out.
Yeah, I think that's what they wanted out of the lane swap earlier, and it finally comes to fruition. I think behind Akshan into the Camille is just a recipe for a disaster, depending on, all the flash timing, and his flash was down there. And yep, they moved toward the Baron. They're looking to set up Baron here. Nice.
Nautilus going to hook in onto the Galio, but he's alone and has to flash over the wall. Gets to back over by the Blitzcrank, and it's just going to get burst down by the rest of our team. He's going to burn his exhaust in the middle of all of that. And now the support's down with the Baron up and the Dragon spawning in 45 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to take this opportunity to set up the Dragon and get a top tower at the same time. They can do this with people on the map.
Flash in from Wukong ulting onto the Talia, who's going to stopwatch. And the Wukong is still going for the auction ult coming in, but Wukong's just going to drop the stopwatch, buying enough time. Blitzcrank hooking back in the Galio. There shouldn't be enough damage to kill him. The ult almost kills the Gragas. Camille will trade back onto the Akshan. She will take a little bit of damage, but not enough to kill her. Talia almost low enough to die to the Leandri's burn from Ziggs, but the heal coming through from Zyra will save her. And the Galio ultimate should be enough to keep them all alive. And they're moving towards this dragon like they want to get this soul.
Yeah, Galio has TP. He comes back, and they have a numbers advantage for this soul. It's gonna be a really tough fight if Blue wants to take this.
The health bars are much better, though. Oh, Gragas gets the dragon.
Gragas.
Huge steal. Meanwhile, Galio is going to look for the Ziggs here. Probably won't have the damage. Blitzcrank flashes for the hook, picks it up. That is the Ziggs going down. Galio coming in, huge shutdown onto the Xayah, 950 gold. He's going to have the Blitzcrank here and going to go for the Camille. And there's the Wukong coming in. Triple kill for the Gragas, just pulling more than his weight. Camille drops on the backside. Or sorry, Nautilus drops on the backside. Akshan coming in with the base gate. Messes up his hookshot a little bit, but looking for the kill with the extra movement speed from his W. Wukong coming in to try and clean up on the backside will get the kill there.
No,
and now, on the other side...
This is a huge advantage for the blue team. They're going for Baron. They collected the dragon and the entire there's an ace for the blue team, so the game is really back in their favor. I'll be honest. Like their scaling is a little bit better into the mid game, and to the late game they have really good single target damage. They can burst the Galio and the Camille as they come in, and so they have a really good chance of taking this game.
There's also a lot of gold onto Heater and onto Wukong. They collected every single shutdown available on the enemy team
Yeah, actually
and
that's true.
denied the Dragon Soul.
The side lane pressure of Future is only going to get stronger and stronger from here on out.
Oh, what did he just bought a Rabadon's death
Bought a
cap.
full
I think
Rabadon's,
Tyrion's
yeah.
a little bit in danger right now.
Yeah,
He really wants to make sure he can steal that next dragon too.
Can anyone on the how much damage is Camille's second Q on
it's not more than Gragas combo, I'll tell you that much. Gragas combo does a lot of damage.
It's about 650, 700 right now with that build, I think. Depending on what she's hitting, because she has the max health damage from Divine.
Yeah, max health damage is reduced on epic monsters by a lot. I think it's like 75%. So at the minimum, she's getting the 150 base AD, so somewhere around 200 bonus. So I can imagine about 700. It makes sense.
Looks like blue team's kind of forcing their way in the bot side here, trying to maybe pick up this tier 2 bot with the extra Baron power. Ziggs is staying in the mid lane, but he is in range of his ult almost. Camille's going to go forward, miss the E, or rather it's going to be dodged by Gragas. The Talia wall going forward, but she's going to hop off early and just burn the cooldown.
Now, red team is really under pressure. They need to take out this Gragas early on in the fights because he will start just popping their front line. Their front line isn't tanky enough to just walk willy-nilly into Gragas anymore.
And they have jumped up on just a faster rotation to this bot side here, trying to force this tower down. Blitzcrank is going to come in and force him off before the tower can actually drop. He's going to hook the Nautilus, and he's just going to get knocked into the team, and one shot. Wukong goes deep with the ult, but the Zanyas is enough to kill him and save the Talia. And meanwhile, the Akshan drops. I don't even see that happening. Camille going forth, hookshot is going to be slowed by the Gragas Q, but lands the W. The Zanyas is going to buy a little bit of time, but he should still drop here to the Galio or the Xayah. Yep, Xayah picks up the shutdown. Huge gold swing for her. And now red side just cleans up, and the only Baron left is Ziggs, who is still farming away mid lane.
Yeah, the team fight just happens to be better because Ziggs is not in a position to deal the damage that he needs to deal. They get a good hook. They collapse on the hook with no hesitation. And even though Gragas is throwing barrel off the barrel, he can't take any engages because he will get DPS by Xayah immediately. So really well played. Xayah is actually really huge as well. Even after he gave the shutdown to Gragas, he's still such a DPS threat. They really have to
There's
respect
a
him for the fight.
steal. I don't know if you saw that, but she just continued her recall even while Nautilus was menacingly walking towards her, getting ready to hook.
Well, Nautilus had flash. Could have flashed. But
Could have flash.
it's a fine decision to not flash. The dragon's coming up. Having flash for this fight may have been maybe slightly better depending on how long her respawn time is.
I believe the death timer is longer than 30 or longer than 40 seconds right now though.
Yep.
We are at 30 minutes in the game and she is level actually she's level 14.
Wukong flashes in with the ult. Akshan flashes in to follow, and they'll keep going. Talia will drop to the Ziggs ult while Camille ults, TPs into the backside and ults the Akshan. But now she's alone, gets huge damage off on Nautilus. Galio coming in to try and save her. The exhaust coming through onto her. Barely gets out. Meanwhile, Akshan drops, but Galio, Zanyas, same for Wukong. Wukong will get hooked back in and killed by the Xayah. Very low HP bar for the Nautilus, who will drop. And that is 1 for 3 in favor of red side as the dragon spawn, asking for that soul.
Galio just cleaning house in the back of the fight. That's just amazing.
I'd like to point out that Heater does have teleport. This could be another miracle seal. Never mind. That is Hextech Soul going over to the red team.
Yes, they're back in the driver's seat. They can, honestly, it's pretty easy to close out this game if they play this right. Just reset, get over to Baron, and with their comp, it's really easy to eliminate the 2 threats to their team in Akshan and Ziggs. So if they don't overcommit to any kind of Gragas combo, then they should be able to clean this up, and we'll move on to game 3 if that's the case.
Actually, Azaya did just finish her Maw of Malmortius, so she's with all of that AD in her pocket. It's actually going to be quite difficult for Heater to one-shot her this time around.
Yeah, I mean, Heater needs to find a good flank for these team fights to work out. Their team isn't really capable of following up when we're calling him like hard dive. So
You're going all the way forward looking for Akshan or Ziggs, but just gets chunked really low. TP coming from Gragas, and it looks like Galio is a little bit too far forward. He will drop to the Wukong ult here, maybe? Yep, he does die. So does Talia. Wukong still go forward. Gragas with the E flash picks up the Xayah, and that is all. Is this going to be a penta for Wukong here? All right, no, Camille drops to Galio, and he's just going to get the Quadra. The TP coming in mid. Are they looking to
Ziggs. They have Ziggs.
end?
So about that difficulty one-shotting Xayah I was talking about earlier.
Getting collapsed on by multiple people.
He scoffed at that extra.
Yeah. Let's see it.
What's going to
Akshan
tank the
Ziggs,
tower here?
known for dealing tower damage. Let's see it.
I mean, 10
There's
seconds
one.
left on Talia. I don't think they can end, but they're
Well, no, Ziggs.
at least going to get this
Ziggs,
in here.
The Ziggs W comes up. Maybe they go for it.
That's true. There's still some more time in the rest of
They
them. They're all just filing out. Oh, Ziggs make up the Hex Gate? No.
And another
is the safe
huge,
move.
another 6k gold swing in the other direction this time. So, blue team is now okay, kind of. Like, I think they still are threatened by the red team comp. I don't think the Xayah does less damage when you get more gold, but now they have a good chance.
Oh, Ziggs hooked by the Blitzcrank, just out on his own with no one to help him. He will drop here, just gets popped by the Talia. Just away from his team. Hexgate coming back to bite him. And they're just going to burn this Baron, and it will be gone.
Surprisingly, the Dragon Soul, while it's really obviously good for them to take, surprisingly not as effective for this red side team as maybe it would be for some other teams. Their comp really just looks to hard engage in a lot of cases. So this chain slow doesn't let them, buy some space as some other comps really utilize that Dragon Soul for. But in the end,
I
it
think
doesn't
that
matter.
the Dragon Soul's still pretty good. One, for just the extra damage, but two, because it allows all these characters with hard CC abilities that are skill shots to land their abilities much more easily.
And here they go directly into the Nayram. They have the Baron, they have the gold advantage, they have the numbers advantage very briefly. So let's see if they can break the base. They've got 2 minutes until Elder, and they've got, I think, probably 180 seconds about on this, maybe less than that at this point, on the Baron buff.
It should be when the Baron timer hits 3 minutes. They have 2 minutes left on that.
Oh yeah, okay, so you're right. So
The Baron Tower's on the other side. I was looking for it.
Gragas might look here on Camille. He's going to E forward and just use the face push block to get away. Wukong was behind him, but they just didn't want to look for that fight.
I mean, Camille can't engage onto him. She's a little bit weaker in terms of stats, and she also is just the counter pick.
He's doing his best to clear this wave.
Siege is doing work.
Red team really just trying to find an engage, trying to find a blitzcrank hook probably, but
I would like to see either Talia or Blitzcrank escort these minion waves with their Baron buffs, so they just move a little faster, give Camille more room to play around top side.
They took that out of the game a while ago. The movement speed on Baron minions. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think
you can't desync the waves, or sync the waves rather. Oh my god,
flash from Blitzcrank hits the out, he flashes away. Wukong counter engaging with the ult. Ziggs coming in. Zanya is from Talia. Wukong just doesn't have the damage to kill anyone. Another hook from Nautilus. Now Galio is just alone in the backside. Wukong flashes away from the Talia knockup, but gets Oh, the Camille goes on to the Wukong clone, and it is just 1-for-1 auction for Galio, mid laner, and red team will file out of the base, taking an inhib and being happy with it.
Yeah. Very, very, very decisive engage there from Blitzcrank. Ends up being a 1-for-1. Galio engages on top of the Blitzcrank hook. But they do blow the sums of the mid laner completely. And their sums are still up, and I think they have the ultimate advantage too. Galio still has his ult, and I think Xayah's ult is a very low cooldown at this point in the game, so they have the ultimate advantage and the flash advantage very briefly for this Elder Soul fight. If they take a fight right now, they might have the advantage.
Darius TPing in. The hook comes in onto the Nautilus, and he's going to get blown up before this dragon spawns. Just no vision. Ziggs actually TPing mid lane to try and just get some more numbers here that they can push in onto the dragon before it gets burned down.
Yeah, this is the
Really
RL
does
connection.
have teleport when you
And
respawn.
another hook.
Other onto the Gragas just gets popped. You just cannot stop RL Bones. He does not want to win his speed run, I guess. Galio coming in with the Predator onto the Ziggs, trying to just zone away from this
Instant
Baron.
kill.
Sorry, this Elder Dragon. Another hook, but it's canceled by the Blast Cone and also onto the Wukong clone, so not super great. But
And
now it's the Elder Dragon
Galio,
going over.
Galio, ever since his release, still one-shotting 80 carries for no apparent reason, building full tank, as you do.
Oh, you could there.
Talia ult and Camille going forward onto the Akshan. Camille is just stuck in the wall, but it doesn't matter. The Akshan's going to drop anyway. And now it is Wukong and Nautilus versus the 4-man team minus the Galio.
Yeah,
marching down
Galio
middle
has
with
ultimate.
Elder buff.
If they engage poorly, Galio ults and they get wiped, and that's the game.
Camille just goes in. Wukong ulting, trying to get
5-man
anything done,
Too late.
but it is not enough. There's no damage to follow up. The last member up gets back to base, but he can't stop this, and it looks like the game is just going to end here. 1-1.
1-1.
We've tied up the
I'm not going to play
series.
Silver Skates, I'm not best of 5, but I would if I could. It's really, really well played early game from the red side there, from Nore's team, to just keep their Galio in the game, keep him relevant.
That was really well played. I think that's the best. I think that was the most coordinated jungle support mid I've seen in a long time. They did a phenomenal job of just getting Galio out of that lane and moving around the map. The laning phase lasted for like 5 minutes where he struggled, and then they just didn't lose for the rest of the game.
Just after that, just pick after pick, rotation after rotation. Akshan looking really helpless. Like he collects a little bit more CS, but the rest of his team is just dying left and right, and he can't really do much about it. He can't take bad fights in the jungle, because if he's the one getting caught, then his Wukong can't do anything to save him. So
Huge props to RL Pones as well. Those blind hooks, just believing he knew exactly where the enemy team was for those massive picks in the mid game and right before the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he just got better and better at hooking as the game went on. And by the end, the last couple of minutes, he was just hitting hook on cooldown, killing somebody on Sice Derive. It was really well played from him.
The magnetic god hand right there. I really, really hope not to play against that guy on Blitzcrank. Kryptonite right there. Probably shouldn't say that. Enemy team, please don't pay attention to anything I'm saying.
yeah, I really like the Blitzcrank pick. Actually, it both helped him in lane and also out of lane. I mean, in the late game, he basically solo carried that last maybe 2-3 minutes, getting 3 picks and just forcing the game to an end. But even in the early game, the pressure from the Blitzcrank on the mid and jungle was just allowing the Galio to get out of the lane and play kind of the roaming style that he wanted to play, with the boots first, with the Predator, with the TP, and the ultimate.
Yeah, I think that was. I said I'd like to see a scaling AD carry to kind of answer the more passive bot lane out of Sice Derive, but that's another. I mean, almost a better answer is just ignore bot lane completely and really focus on the rest of the map. So I really like that draft adaptation. That was great.
Yeah, and Xayah herself also is really hard to punish, especially with Nautilus Ziggs. Like, you can get punished by poke lanes as Xayah, but Without a poke lane, Ziggs himself just needs to land bombs, and without that, then you become almost impossible to die with your ultimate being up and your flash, and it just rotating the Blitzcrank away from the lane doesn't become a bunch of a problem. And Blitzcrank himself also doesn't. He needs XP until level 6, but after level 6, he's really kind of a resources champion. He just needs to land the hook. So really well
Really
played from
curious
the
to
bot lane.
see the side selection this match.
It looks like both teams liked blue side, or at the beginning. Nore's team did win on the red side.
Wait, which
I
team
mean,
gets to pick this time? Oh, sorry.
It actually
Nore-
should
Nore's
be
team.
another coin flip if I'm correct.
Ah.
I'm going to ask real quick.
But I think it's interesting that right, Sice Derive took the blue side for that prio pick on Wukong game too,
Hmm?
but it just did not work out that time, right? The
Yeah.
the Talia came back as a response. They said, "Nope, we're happy if you don't have the Olaf and the Zillion. We think the Talia is plenty good of an answer to Wukong. So your power pick means nothing." And now, if you go red side again, I mean, you can't just give that over. So something has to change with the bans.
Um, uh, in terms of the coin flip, the Knights Dawn team did get to pick which side of the coin they wanted the first time. So I think it's only fair that the other team gets to pick which side. Huh. I'm actually really curious to see if they're going to. Oh, actually, are we allowed to discuss draft right now? Or no?
Presumably it's fine if you don't say like what to pick next game. Anyways,
Uh,
could I get the captain Sicer to pick heads or tails? I'm gonna give you 15 seconds. All right.
Arians has spoken.
Cridians has spoken for them. All right. You pick heads. I will proceed with the coin flip. Let's look at its tails. Right. Another side select for Nore.
This. Oh,
Dimitri not rigging the coin flips, only rigging the games. That's kind of weird.
now taking bets. So which side is Nari Night's Dawn going to pick? I think this is going to be another play side pick for them.
I think they might take red here.
I mean,
Honestly,
they did just win on the red side. It could just be a run back of the same kind of draft plan. I wouldn't
I
be
think if
surprised.
they take red, there's a chance they won't get the Talia this game.
that's true.
All right, they asked for blue,
There's the
Oh,
so
you're right.
they do
Blue.
want to go with the original plan they had in the first game. So blue side for both of them.
Yeah, I guess if they want that, they say that they don't have a counter to the Talia, so outside, I guess maybe that Cassius, they'll see. They just really, really want that Talia.
I think we might see a third slot ban for red side or a Talia ban third slot for red side.
I think
Yeah.
you're probably right.
I feel like Sizer's team probably wants to trade the Wukong Talia again. I think. Um, being red side means that they have that option, right? Because they ban last, so they get to see the other ban.
They can only ban if they save for last. They can only ban one of Talia and Wukong. So blue side could force them to ban both, unless they do have an answer for Wukong that isn't Talia. Maybe we'll see a Yana pick this game.
That'd be interesting. I know she's been pretty strong this patch, right?
Yeah, she's a good disengage.
Yeah, I mean, that would require a bit of a different kind of draft. I mean, Zai with Janna is probably okay, but... Alright, and we're going into draft in just a few seconds here. Let me pull it up.
I wonder if maybe the Senna ban will be dropped. Actually, although actually no, it was Knight's Dawn Nori team that was banning the Senna, right?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
Curious to see if we'll see it in the third game. Although if it's not broken, don't fix it, right?
Okay, it looks like we're heading right into draft. So... Senna ban first. Same old, same old. I mean, I expect kind of a similar ban strategy here. They probably do Zillion, and then maybe something else, but I think the Zillion will remain. Yep, there's a Zillion.
I think if
Really,
we don't see a Camille ban, they're still gonna ban the Olaf.
yeah, it really comes down to these last two bans. Will there be a Wukong Talia trade, or will be one of them will get banned, or both? Alright, looks like they're willing to trade the Talia Wukong again. So,
I think this is gonna be a Talia ban, and Str8th is going to get to first pick that Wukong. Van!
yeah, they definitely can't do that. You want to trade there. You definitely don't trade. Like,
They're gonna take the Wukong.
yeah, and they get
Wait a
Wukong this
Camille's
second.
time.
going
So this is a replay of the first game with
interesting.
them getting the Wukong.
Wait, didn't
She wasn't the other way around.
Was it the other way
Straight,
around?
yeah
Was it the other way around?
straight
Oh, I
yeah
see.
usually
Str8th
seems to opt for the Talia.
yeah
I
they've had
see.
Talia both games, right?
Oh, right, because they had Talia mid the first game. You're right. That makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're opting for
Interesting to
Wukong
see
this
the
time.
reversal. I did see how the matchup went last game. Maybe they've got a new strategy here.
Yeah.
Could they be putting the Wukong top lane since we know that? Never mind, that's a Tom Kench. That could be Flex top lane or support. But we do know that Dexmax seems to be very comfortable on the Camille. They could be picking the Wukong to stick it in that lane.
Yeah, I don't think Camille's... Yeah, well, there you go. So it's Camille.
Stealing it away right under their nose. Curious to see what they're going to pick here. I think there's just a support pick here. We might see another Nautilus.
And they
Looks like a
Jinx.
Jinx.
I think they're responding to Tom Kench because they think Tom Kench is going to be with a scaling carry. I think they're taking away the Jinx possibly from Sice Derive having a scaling pick. I don't know if Cridian's necessarily plays another scaling pick in terms of ADCs because we've seen him play two mages so far.
Mhm.
Jack's counterpicking to Camille. That's a pretty known matchup. I think it's slightly Jack's favorite if I'm correct.
It
It's
is
pretty heavily
Jack's
Jack's
favorite
favored.
pretty heavy
because
It's
he
Jack's
also gonna be
can.
pretty
favorite,
good. Yeah, pretty good into that Wukong too, right?
yeah. Yeah, and into Jinx obviously can't get hit. But I think I mean it looks like from this draft so far that Str8th is going to play around the bot side with the Wukong and the Jinx. So I'm not sure how much Camille can do on the island into Jax, but we'll have to see what happens in the game.
This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I kind of want Str8th to ban Asher Sivir. Because I feel like those two champions, if Red Side picks either of those, it's gonna be really rough for
I would
anything to happen on the side.
I do like the Vigar ban a lot, especially if Cridians can flex the Vigar into the bot lane because Vigar into Camille Wukong is extraordinarily infuriating to play against, especially if you want to pick engage support as well with the two engage top side. So I do like that pick a lot, or ban rather.
It looks like Sice has banned away the God Hand and the Gallia.
Yeah, the Galio ban seems expected. It worked out really well for them in the previous game. Auction ban coming here instead of, well, they banned auction the first game actually, so just another auction ban. Seems to be Nice on Kryptonite a little bit.
Oh, he did perform admirably last game against it, despite the frustrating early game.
Yeah,
Or
I
early
mean,
lane, I suppose.
I think it seems like he had that, maybe not just him, maybe the team had that kind of counter strategy prepared for an auction pick. I mean, I haven't seen the Knights Don Yone, maybe the Corki coming out. I'm interested to see what he picks here. Oh, the Victor, yeah, that's another one of his classic picks as well.
And it's just a straight up team fight comp so far coming out of Str8th.
Yeah. Blind picking Victor is also pretty decent. Not super easy to counter pick.
I think this has to be a Ghost Victor then, though, right? Otherwise, he's really
Ghost,
vulnerable to Ghost Victor.
why not
Is that
just
not
TP?
a
I
thing?
mean, I feel like TP is just fine. Do you need to have Ghost?
I feel like if Sice Derive picks any mild CC mid laner, then Talea TK is just gonna walk into mid lane and Nightdawn's gonna flash or Victor's gonna flash.
I mean, that's what you have the wards for. If you have the vision and you have bot prio, there's no way they can do that.
True.
Tomkin Jin bot lane, very old bot lane. The matchup into Dutch Drinks seems pretty good if I remember correctly, but not super heavy one-sided. And then the Graves picked to round out the comp. So
How is Graves into Wukong in the jungle?
uh, I think Crossbell told me it was Wukong favored early, but I think every matchup is apparently Wukong favored early. So we'll have to see how it develops in the game.
Well, I hope this game is as spicy as the last one.
Last one was pretty hard to top. That was very back and forth.
Some of those gold swings in the mid game. What was it? 4K, 8K, 6K?
Yeah, there's like two team fights worth almost 6K because one team got fully aced.
And then the other one
And
was
then the other
clutching
way.
shutdowns in a Baron.
Yeah. So just team fight after team fight, really swinging both directions. This game will probably be no different, I feel. Both of the team comps have like really strong team fight power. I know the Jax is known for split push. I don't know if their comp really kind of lets him split push. I mean, Talia has a lot of zoning power to get people off of objectives, but the rest of the team doesn't really have as much to follow up with that. Graves and Jin are not necessarily known for their like incredible amounts of poke or CC or like long distance zoning tools. So I feel like it'll just end up being both teams trying to force a team fight. A little quirky, friendly quirky hover for Night's Dawn here.
Oh, I was staring at that. I was like, did I miss something in the gym
No,
select?
he's hovering it. He's hovering it. It's a friendly banter, you know.
See, I see.
Yeah. The Night's Dawn sabotaging, or Nore actually sabotaging his own DMV rivals 90% here. Going for the third game option.
Well, as long as
It's
this
really
game lasts under an hour, he's gonna beat the 2-hour 30-minute record.
yeah. It's it's a little known side event. Doesn't happen that often getting that third game, but when it does, it really can screw over your speedrun attempt. So I think a lot of players would just a lot of teams actually would just kind of forfeit here and try and reset the game and start from 0-0. But looks like he's trying to speedrun this one and get it over with so he can get
So
that
we can
speedrun.
I think that perhaps we misinterpreted. This isn't actually an any percent. This is a 100%.
That's a 100%. Full
Opting for the
completion
third
run.
game with DLC.
That makes sense, actually.
Gotta change the timer words real quick.
Yeah, let me just edit the timer real quick. My bad.
I'm actually really excited for this bot lane, by the way, because this is the first classic bot lane matchup that we've seen this entire series. First game it was Zillion Nautilus, was it?
Yep, it was Zillion
On
Nautilus.
one
Yep.
Yes.
into a classic bot lane. Second game there was a Ziggs Nautilus. Now we see the Jin TK against Jinx Thresh. Good old fashioned bot lane.
Yeah, I want to see Jin build an RFC definitely really early in the game here. A lot of times Jin will pick it up second. Third is probably still okay. Any later than that, he's gonna have a lot of time suffering against Victor and Jinx's extra range on him, and it also really helps him just combo up with the Talia and with the Tahm Kench when they go into land their CC.
So
That's
what are your guys' thoughts on third item Lord Dominic's this game
for which team?
for Jin?
For Jin? Well, mathematically, Lord Dominic's is worse than IE unless the target has like I forget the exact cutoff, but something like 200 something armor, 250 or 270. So very, very, very unlikely that it'd be better than than the IE and plus whatever else he built before that.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Uh,
Isn't it cheaper though by like
it is cheaper by 400. I don't think that's enough gold to.
actually that's a lot less cheaper
Yeah,
than I thought it was. Mm, okay, it makes
yeah.
sense.
They also nerfed it by reducing that percent penetration by 5%. So still think probably the IE here. I mean, I hope to see just like a normal Gale Force RFC IE in that order, but we'll see what he opts to do. Their team isn't super tanky. He could opt for the lethality build. And as for Talia, what do you think Talia is going to build up here? Jax, or not Jax, Graves as well. Like, these champions tend to have a lot of different builds. Victor, Wukong, and Camille also. I mean, Wukong and Camille will go the same build, but Victor also has a lot of different builds that he can go into.
I'd like to see the oh man, I forgot what it was called. That Umbral Glaive on Graves. Although I did see that it was less popular, possibly due to the increase in armor. But I think that it's a really strong early game item, really cheap, and it can definitely help the early game where Graves Talaya are just trying to run into the side lanes and murder whoever is there.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I think
think. So go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's still pretty strong, honestly. Like it's a little bit worse just after the changes, but I think even after the increase in armor, the lethality is still pretty nice to burst squishies.
Yeah.
I just
I
think playing against that blackout passive is so annoying.
I mean, I
Sorry,
think
what was that, Max?
if they play for the top side because Jax has the better matchup, it's kind of hard to dive. But if Graves started invading that top side permanently and he has or he gets an early Umbral Glaive, then because of the blackout passive, he can just keep invading that top side, clearing all the vision and repeating that, and it's very hard to
Mhm.
respond to. So, I mean, where do you think they're going to
This
play around this game? Do you think Graves is going top side, bot side? Same thing with Noray's team.
It's a little hard to go onto bot side just because Jinx has that extra safety with the Thresh Lantern. But I think if Talea manages to get between Jinx and Thresh, then her her rock floor E is going to do a ton of damage if Jinx takes the lantern.
Uh, that's true, but it doesn't actually interrupt the dark passage itself. So he can, or Jinx can still get out to safety, although he does take a lot of extra damage for passing without the
I
field.
think even if Jinx gets far, we do have a Jin for the red side
Yeah,
with his curtain call.
seems like a normal
And
5 point. Seems like this thing is bugged again. There we go. For some reason, sometimes the items don't update uh, if you have this open at the beginning of the game. Yeah, it looks like a normal 5-point. Jinx kind of not quite normal
In the
5-point.
correct position. But there's no hook to punish on the
Yeah.
side of
Yep.
Although this is a boots 4 pots Jin. So I'm ready for some big trades to go down in the bot lane.
Yeah. Looking to leverage the extra health with just tanking a little bit extra to get that auto Q with a 4-shot. And then eventually they get low enough your top can take it all in. And you're up in the lane.
Looks like both junglers are starting top side. Wukong's a little bit late to his wolf camp. I really would have liked to see either bot lane drag the wave here. But it looks like they're both just gonna fake leashes.
Already some action going on top of this. Jax walking forward that E. Camille's going to trade back with her W, get the grass proc for just a little bit better of a trade at level 1.
Yeah. Jax committing the E way earlier than you should have, getting traded on really heavily actually for that. And Camille getting a big advantage. Jax using the E again just for wave clear. Looks like.
Yeah, and Camille's just going to get a W, another grass proc.
grass
He's taking a
proc.
couple free autos.
Huge invade here actually from
Already
Sice at level 2.
Graves just going in, forcing him off.
I mean, I guess he just predicted that the Wukong would be a bit low and takes
I think he thought that they started bot side, so he just went for the invade and ran into the Wukong.
Yeah, but
Both sides did fake leash.
Wukong getting the worst out of the trade. There's a huge dive threat top lane. I don't think they can do it because of the tower advantage, but yeah.
But they do force Wukong out of his on blue side.
Yep.
Press tab, look at Wukong's, yes! Ah, you walked all the way to the wolf camp.
Yeah.
Oh, we did see the Talia passive there. She just ran right to the top. Let Graves take that Gromp.
Jax takes a turret shot. Camille just full commits. He has no counter strike. She does have Ignite. This should just be a kill. He's going to flash away. I don't think that's enough to tick him down with the pot.
It's the last tick.
It is first blood in the counter pick matchup for Dex Max 1 here to start the game off.
Yeah, but can she even push out the wave? What is the wave state looking like? Because this is... And the TP back? No, she TP's back. Okay, it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's frozen there, actually.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. He's got the TP back. Jax doesn't have the time to push this in. And
both junglers are the bot.
He's not even
She's just going to walk?
She's going to walk. She will be down XP for this choice to walk back, but it seems to be okay.
I think she's down 3 melees, 2 melees, none at all. She does make it back.
Okay, surprising.
I think she did miss 2 or 3 melees from the previous wave.
Yeah.
But
down a little bit of XP, but up gold. So not too bad.
And a summoner spell. Yeah.
I don't know if the TP advantage helps her in the long con here, but... Oh, Heater looking for some cheese. Maybe? No. Not gonna happen.
Looks like Wukong's looking to invade on the bottom side there.
Nope, and he goes
Jax is going to go in with his E. He's going to get the stun off, trade some damage out. Camille's going to trade back with her E, get a really good trade. Jax is going to go back in. It's Camille favored in the short term, but Jax does have to have a corrupting pot. Big trade coming out from Talia, hits the knockup into her E and another Q.
And still loses the
Nightstone
trade,
is up.
So, yeah, Talia early game.
Loses the trade, Nightstone.
Yeah.
More fighting top, but she gets the E off to prevent the stun from Jax's counter-strike.
Dexmax playing this matchup really well. He's going down in CS by a little bit, but besides that, really, really well played. Heater committing the E early, Dexmax not queuing into it, not eating into it, waiting out the full duration, then comboing afterwards to get big trades. Really playing around that counter pick really well.
I think Jax is only a counter pick into Camille if you hold the oh, it looks like Wukong got that Gromp, but
if
you hold the counter pick.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really punishing if you can interrupt her hook shot with the stun from the E is where it really starts to get bad for Camille. But you have to know how to actually do that.
You can also, well, the thing is that if Camille walks up to you and starts up the auto attack, then you can E it as well, right? So there's a lot of nuance there, but yeah, Sice are taking a lot of tempo advantage from mid lane and just using them to get himself more gold, taking enemy camps. Really well played, actually. Even though it's just kind of a small thing.
Looks like they're looking on the Talaya here.
3-man mid. She does have flash, but doesn't
I
need
don't
to
think they're
use it.
trying to
She'll just
kill. I
back
think
out.
they're just trying to get the wave in so that you can back safely.
Jax is going to jump in, try and fight in this huge wave, just get the stun. She's going to trade back with her hook shot, and it will just be an even trade of health.
Yeah. Jax is still up CS and up a little bit of XP off of this wave, it looked like, so.
I take a look for a moment at the wave or Jinxes. Oh, never mind. Derive might be in trouble here. He is out of mana.
Oh, flash in with the Flay from Thresh. They will get the kill onto Talia, and it will go over to Wukong. Get the second kill on the board for them with the wave. Maybe not frozen here, but
In an advantageous position.
yeah.
Even more
Jax
aggressive
got
trading
one.
from Heater. Just keep going in, trying to take those trades.
Mm-hmm. He's out of
Does have
corrupting
the
pots
corrupting
now.
pot,
He is
yeah.
out of corrupting pots now. This could be threatening for another all-in. He needs to be a bit lower because he still has the threat of his ultimate up, but
Well, they did get the Ocean Drake.
then trade back here. He pops the ult early. This
He will
could
pop
be
the ult,
bad.
Yep. Dexmax will just try and walk away. He'll take a little bit of damage, trade back with the
Oh, but he
W,
looked for
but
the
there are friends coming for Heacher, and Wukong will come in, knock up from Tom Kench missing, but Jax will go for the stun. Camille will ult and die for it, burn the ignite as well, and that is a kill over to Sicer, and a huge wave lost for Dexmax 1.
Yeah, that was really well played. They do commit Tom Kench to topside though for that, so Jin does lose a decent amount of CS in the bot side.
He's actually going
He
to
might
get
actually
dove
get
here.
dove.
Yeah. Look at this dive. Nori's coming in. The Jinx to block him off. He will flash away, but he will drop to the Jinx. And Jinx barely lives, burns the heal. And that is just the trade back of kills.
Yeah, I think that was just a net positive for the blue team. They don't really mind if the Camille gets a little bit behind. I mean,
Well, Graves does get the Rift Herald here, although I suppose he does lose all of his bot side.
I think this also did start when the dragon went down. So it's kind of a very, very long back and forth that ends in equal objectives.
Yep. I want the red team not to just drop the Herald in the top side. I think they blow up that tower too early, then Jax can't keep his advantage.
Tom Kench coming in onto Victor here. He does have flash burns the goat. He is exhausted, will flash out there away from the Graves and Kench. Both summoner spells burned for only the exhaust on Kench.
Yep, not bad. Another successful Kench roam. Though, once again, Jin is falling further and further behind. I'd like to see Thresh get out of the lane a little bit more so Jinx can get more solo XP when Tom Kench does these roams as well, but in the end...
I think it's alright here because they did take advantage of that and dive the Jin earlier with Thresh in lane.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is that he's like escorting Jinx back to lane directly from base. If he went mid, he possibly could, help Victor, for example, but...
Sorry, unrelated, but could you please check for me how much money this Sicer person is sitting on? This Graves?
Just 200 more, yeah. That's just the CS difference, more or less. Yeah.
Sorry, I meant how much is in his pocket because
He has
I believe that
73.
12 or 1300.
He was sitting 12 or 1300 though, yeah.
going into debt.
Going to debt to buy
Picking up the Umbral Glaive.
Umbral Glaive early. Yeah, and basically this is kind of as we thought it would be in the draft, right? Graves pushes into topside, takes all his camps, gets the blackout item, the Umbral Grave, so you can't keep vision and keeps just pushing for those topside camps. 3 quadratic the Wukong.
Feature going in, but we traded back. There are a lot of people topside Talia and Graves coming in, but Wukong is sitting in the bush. This could be a little bit dangerous. He dodges the knockup from Talia, will clone away once he gets off of the Talia E, and they will get out. But Graves is going to drop the Herald, it looks like, and they're going to take that tier 1 top tower. Meanwhile, blue team's bot lane is going to push in to try and get this tower first. There is a plate though, so I don't think they can drop this. And they will hook in the Kench. The Jin ult will come out, tagging the Jinx, but there's not enough damage there. Meanwhile, mid lane, Victor is going to drop the ult onto Talia, who ignited him, but she will get out pretty easy. And Sicer will help her push in the wave. Oh, and then more action as the Wukong and Camille look on the Jax, who will flash over the wall, live through the ignite tick, and get away after those two ults.
Yeah, they end up dropping the Herald topside, which means that the Camille does end up getting kind of access to this free farm, so I really want to see them rotate Jax down to this dragon and then maybe swap their lanes up here. I think that's the only kind of good play here. Heacher, instead of going top to catch the wave and then TPing to dragon, I feel like they could
Looks like
definitely
he's
take
walking
this fight, though.
Drake.
Oh, no, he pathed top at the beginning and then chose to go. Okay, yeah, so he's coming. Makes sense.
I'm not sure if I think it's okay to. Oh, fight going on.
They're looking in here. Jinx is going to take the lantern out after the knockout from Kench. They tried to block it with the red ward, but they just, I guess, didn't put it down properly, and she managed to get out. Jinx will hit the W on Kench, but the hook will go wide. And it looks like red team is going to take the drag with Nori on the top side of the map.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense. They drop the Herald, they take the tower, and then immediately rotate the Jackson with the ball lane as Camille has to bounce that wave out and get the basically uncontested Drake with the numbers advantage. So really just a textbook play off that Rift Herald. In theory, Jax could just freeze this wave. There's not really anything to play for here. He already has the advantage in the lane in the first place.
Knockup hits from Talia onto Victor. Graves is there to help follow up. The Graves is going to hit the ult, but the Victor ult will not tick down Talia. She barely lives. Meanwhile, bot lane, very aggressive play coming out from Thresh, misses the box, and they will not have the damage to kill Thresh. And the Tom Kench will waddle on out of there, minus his flash and the Jin heal.
Thresh also flashed for that. But I think that's that's a fine trade of sums. I don't think the Thresh flash matters too much right now. It'll be up
more fighting. Top just a little bit of trade. The ult comes in from Camille with Wukong there to back her up. The Wukong will burn his ult and Heacher will drop. Not enough damage to kill the Camille. And they will crash this wave while Graves looks to maybe catch it.
Yep. Graves trying to convert his kind of early game CS lead into something, but it looks like it's actually just going to be him kind of trying to scale up and be that damage carry that that his team maybe doesn't need, but that the Graves, you always can see Graves kind of solo carrying teams. So I do like the Jin. I do like the Jin build opting for crit. It looks like kind of a little bit behind, so we probably won't see him pick up the full item here, but.
In regards earlier to the flash trade, I think it's also alright for Thresh to trade flash just because I think TK flash is a lot more important for the safety of his team, and also Thresh has access to Hex Flash.
Yeah, surprisingly, taking Hex Flash actually in this lane, not really netting you anything. I would like to see kind of maybe another choice of summoners, but I think it's fine.
I think from watching him play last game, he seems to take Hex Flash not as much for the lane cheese as for making plays in the mid and jungle.
Maybe that makes sense. Yeah, I like to see him use it at least. We'll see what happens. But in any case, even if he didn't have it, it would almost be up before the dragon anyways. Dragon was 4.5 minutes as he flashed, so I think it's okay.
Like, both AD carriers are just going to sit in the mid lane while red team takes the Rift Herald, and Camille, I don't know if she wants to go for the slave here.
Yeah, taking the Rift uncontested here while blue team has a lead. A very interesting choice on the blue team, actually, to just kind of sit back and let this happen. They are 4-manning in mid lane. I wonder what they're trying to contest? Just getting Dragon Vision early, or rushing down to catch the CS?
We're trying to just force another spin. The hook does land on Thresh. Follow up with the Jinx trap. but I don't think they have the DPS to actually kill him here, just get some chip damage. The Jinx ult comes down, but it is blocked by the shield from Kenshin. He will waddle on out of there.
Yeah.
Ignorance keeps walking out of these. Can't keep getting away with this.
I do like the pickup of Gale Force here on the Jinx. It does help her a lot. I don't think the Gale Force. Sorry, I don't think the Kraken Slayer would necessarily help her too much in these fights. So I expect probably in just RFC into IE like sort of normal build for both ADCs. But I feel like this game, based on the way it's going, is going to go to late game. In that late game team fight state, both Jax and Jinx will be kind of spacing each other, trying to see whether you can bait up that E, trying to get poke out with the Jinx and see if Jax reacts.
Graves did get first back there, especially with his Rift Herald in his pocket. So he actually makes it to this dragon first to help out TK with getting vision. Jin is backing a little late, but he should have time to walk over. Still got 25 seconds. He's got bits of swiftness.
Yeah, no TP on
Jax
Victor
down
or Talia. It's just the top laners that have TP, so they're going to have to show up to this dragon basically about now.
Hook lands from Thresh there onto the Graves, and he's going to try to get out. Will die to the Wukong, and that is the jungler down 2 seconds before dragon spawns.
Yeah, another really good hook from our opponents. Another hook champ, and he just keeps delivering. Really, just hook after hook. Oh. Really
that
close
one goes
there,
a
too.
little.
Yeah. Uncontested dragon after the hook. They have a little bit of golden edge. They're going to translate this into a mid tier 1, hopefully, as Victor takes the side lane.
Miss the cannon. Another
hook
hook.
lands.
A little bit too far.
But it is
off
under the
now.
catch. They'll actually trade back into the Talia knockup, and the Everfrost has to flash away. The Jin ult comes down. Can the Jinx block all the shots? It looks like the Observer doesn't care. Jax is going to go in onto the Victor here, and now that Kench is hooked under tower, will flash away himself. It looks like it's just a support thing to do this game. Camille will come in, not be able to find anything. Meanwhile, bot lane, the Jax is kind of getting the worst end of this trade. Victor, with one more ability, should get this kill, and he does. Meanwhile, all blue team has to recall because they are just so low. Red team is dropping the Herald and looking for this mid tower.
It's actually... they capitalized on that threshold retention really well. Chunking him out, his teammates have to block for him. They chunk them out as well, and they can get probably two crashes of this Rift Herald. They could have grouped and taken this inner tower as well. It looks like they're going to opt to go for the Victor instead.
I don't think it gets her in time.
I don't even get him in time.
Yeah, he just...
but they end up
They
getting
do get the
Herald,
tower,
so
though.
it's okay. Yeah. Still a really good play, actually, then, in that case, to try and look for the
You
Victor.
did lose the proximity gold, though.
You do lose the proximity goal. That is true.
It's a
I think
lot of money now.
Victor
Big
would have
butt there.
been worth, but alas, did not get Victor. So, because in the end, not really that worth.
Good luck.
It was definitely a good look. Yeah, the next objective will be Baron in 40 seconds. Jinx is known for her Baron DPS, one of those champions. Just sit still and shoot bullets into it. So, hopefully, I think blue team are going to start gathering around this objective, trying to get picks and transition that into a Baron.
Yeah, they'll try and force down this mid tower here. They should have plenty of DPS. Jack's looking on Camille, but she just hook shots away.
Yeah. Wait, do they have,
Graves
if
is
they
there
have
to back
vision on
him up.
Graves here, then this is just... they're going to go all the way if they have vision on Graves.
Yeah,
Talia
Thresh
is
just going to
not
zone off. He's going to hit the
respecting
flay.
this.
He's going to miss the hook. The Gale Force will get him away. But we're just going to get the tier 2 mid while Graves is looking to back up Jack's top lane. And Jax is going to go in again. He's going to hit the stun this time. He might be able to look here all the way. Camille's going to queue for the movement speed and get out, trade back a little bit, and that is ult burned from Jax. But meanwhile, they saw Talia bot lane, and so blue team might just look to Baron here. They have plenty of DPS for it.
No wall and no TP on
Wukong
Talia
speak.
means that they have plenty of time actually to start this Drake up. The Camille isn't TPing just yet because she doesn't want to show herself, but
Yep.
they have
Teacher
the
reset.
tempo
He is
advantage.
TPing behind. Their health bars are a little bit low on blue team. The threat or the Jin ult is coming out. Thresh is getting left behind. He's going to get ulted by Jin. He's going to get ulted and finished off. The Victor ult comes through. Jinx will flash out, get picked up by Graves. Talia finally shows it's a huge knock-up stun. The Jax is just DPSing. And at the end of the day, Camille is just all alone sitting in base waiting to TP to nowhere. And red team is going to pick up the Baron after that.
Yeah. Well played by red team. They I think the Jax, I wasn't entirely sure. I think the Jax was just zoning off the Camille from TPing, and that ended up being the difference there. I think if the Camille TP'd earlier, it would have been a much easier fight for them. And in the end, red team capitalizes on the slow TP, or the lack of TP actually, and takes the whole fight and the Baron too.
Also, a lovely curtain call by Jin, sniping the Thresh right between two other fat people. Large people.
I mean, even if he wasn't to get to the Thresh there, the just threat of him killing the Thresh made them all clump up and kind of spend a lot more time getting out of that choke point than they should have. And that's
And
really
Graves ulted.
Yeah, that's a really good way of using Jin ult, effectively using it to engage that fight.
Ragnaros is not in trouble, actually. He's very rotund and healthy.
Yeah, bot tower drops there for Jax. Just getting some gold back onto himself, trying to close that gap between him and Camille. Actually, he might be ahead in items here.
I think he's ahead because of his team getting a lot more objectives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a little ahead.
They blew up the first tower with him around to get the proximity gold and plates.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like they're giving the dragon in exchange for top tower, but Jax is backing to defend the tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, really smart gameplay from both teams, honestly, like macro-wise. Trading objectives back and forth across the map. They don't want to do anything risky fight-wise. I know that blue team here is honestly okay with this because I think they probably think they scale better, so...
Jax going ahead of her, gets stunned, and Camille is there. She has her ult, she has Ignite. Jax looking to burst down Victor before he can die, but the Hextech Ultimatum will keep Victor safe. He's going to keep chasing, but the Ghost will keep him safe also. The Jin ult comes down looking for Victor, but the Ghost once again just gets him out scot-free, and they will pick up the tower. Meanwhile, bot lane, though, the Baron buffed Talia and Graves will look to clear the tier 2.
Jin
a lot of tower
underestimating the Ghost. I feel like he was shooting like exactly where he would have been without the Ghost. So the Ghost really came in clutch. Oh, there's a huge TP actually. They're looking for this play. Camille looking to engage.
Does not have ult. They do see her on that red ward. Talia is actually going to hit the Everfrost into the knockup and look to just burst her out, which doesn't quite have the damage. Camille will hookshot away. Talia's going to follow with ult, and she's going to take her out, and that is a kill off of the TP.
Yeah, TP and the life down, but there's no objective on the map for them to take, so they're just going to look to fight, it looks like.
Talia's looking for more damage, really just using that DPS now, the extra CDR from Seraphs.
Yeah. I mean, they still do have Baron buff and a man advantage. They could just look to... the Baron just falls off, yes. It just falls off. Yeah. I mean, they will still look to siege, but I don't think there's really a whole lot they can do here. Maybe just get the jungle camps and reset. Yeah, very unfortunate death by Camille, but really in the best timing possible there, just between when both objectives were kind of down and there was nothing else to take, so... Fortunately, even this late in the game, didn't really mean too much, just dying a little bit there.
Can we take a look for a moment at how far off Jinx is from Infinity Edge? Because I think that would be a really scary turning point for blue team.
Like, still like 1,000-ish.
Yeah. Upgrades like what, 400?
It's...
Yeah, it's 625.
It's 1,400 total, I think, from here.
That sounds right, yeah. 1,400 like that.
It's pickaxe plus 14, so it's... Should be 1,400.
Like pickaxe plus 625, I think.
That'd be 1,500. So is that 1,300 or 1,500? Yeah. I think it's 1,300. So I think it's 1,400.
I think it's 1,500.
You think? Okay, something along those lines.
900 plus 600? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still 1,000 gold. She's at 600 in pocket.
Meanwhile, Graves is actually out 250 in pocket. Back to the
Yeah.
Loan Sharks.
Well, he is buying all those lethality items, looking to find picks on the Victor and on the Jinx in the team fights. I think really, honestly, really hard for him to do that. And hitting the Camille is just not a waste of time. She's not a full tank, but she's got a lot of armor for those lethality items to get
Feels
through.
looking here, but Jax is just going to run in with E. She's going to dodge the
Huge
stun,
Q.
and he's going to try and blow up, but she just takes no damage through the shield. Ult's in, but his E is back up. He's going to land the stun. Jinx ult comes down. Graves is there to try and back up. Neither drops, but Jax is a lot lower. He's going to back up and get away.
Yeah, I don't really do anything else. I think they both reset and they both go to the dragon. A good look there from Camille for sure. If she got that kill, then it was free dragon. So really well played, actually, just to take a look for that.
I think Victor just purchased his full Rabadon's death cap here, right in time, 1 minute before the dragon spawns. It's gonna be a little awkward.
Still, I would like to point out, still no boots for the Victor. I think he's just counting on that ghost to back up his movement speed in these fights. Doesn't really care for the movement speed outside of them. So, would like to see. I would like to see boots on him, or like tank boots on him, probably considering his build. But
He really doesn't. Oh, another fight.
Jax looking here. Graves is coming. Camille is just going to hook shot out though.
But Graves walking all the way topside with Dragon coming up. They're trying to threaten the Baron trade for the Dragon. Looks like.
Blue team is moving in to cut them off from moving down to the Drake and push in for Baron vision.
Honestly, if I was the red team, I'd be under a lot of pressure right now. I feel like with these champions on the blue team, you just feel like if you don't do something soon, you're going to get blown up by Jinx and Victor in the late game. So I feel like they're just trying to push for any advantage they can possibly find. And rotating Graves up there, maybe they can get a kill and get into this dragon pit. But now that they've done this, it's a bit too late. Yeah.
Yep, just too slow. And blue team just picks up their third Drake on Soul Point now.
Like they're behind 3K, but it really just doesn't feel like it because all the gold is concentrated onto their, well, in this case, their Victor and their Jinx.
Jinx is pretty close to Infinity Edge now, I think, right? Probably missing this camp and the ground.
She has it.
Oh, she has it?
She should have it. That's why she's back.
But if she backs here, can they do the Baron?
Oh,
looks like red team's also going to opt her back.
Yeah, they do have a good ward on it. Camille has TP. It could have been close if they went for that call, but they'd probably also lose the game if they didn't do it right. So I mean, probably not worth it.
I think the safe play.
I mean, it would have been hyped to see the EG Danny Baron Pentakill, but
clip for the ages.
Yeah, just reset, do it properly, do the process properly, get all your vision, and then look to swoop in and take that Baron. They still do need the Graves to show up to the Baron, though. Or not Graves, probably Jax to show up to the Baron. I don't know if the red team has a whole lot of DPS from Talia. I don't know how much Talia does to Baron. So.
It's more damage, or more Baron DPS now than before, I think. But
yeah, she has more consistent DPS now. Yeah, that is true. So maybe it's enough, even with the Jax in the side lane pulling pressure.
Looks like... Oh, they're not going to make a move. Just gonna pick up the wave mid.
I will say, it looks like Jax didn't necessarily build for the side lane. It looks like he built for the team fight, so I think he's strong to TP. I don't know if the Wit's End is really a credible item into Camille, but as well as not going any Ninja Tabbies for that matchup as well.
I think he went to try and fight the Victor earlier, lost, and was like, I'm getting him next time.
Yeah, but from
that sounds great.
The item slot, it seemed better for him in the team fights, but in the side lane, I feel like he'd have picked up something else. Interesting.
Looks like blue team
just gonna... I don't think this is gonna result in much, especially if Tom catch face checks. But this team
The
isn't
hook
close
hits
enough,
back onto
actually.
Kench. The Juno comes at the Tom. Kench flashes out, and the Juno just going to hit a bunch of full health carries, or champions rather, or the Wukong clone, which is also full health.
Yep. Tomcatch just being the shield for his team, being tanky, getting hooked, and honestly, I would have liked to see him to be a little bit closer there. If the Jax was ready in the wings to TP, then they could have maybe turned that fight, but in response, a good reaction flash from him. So.
Talia is walking out of base with a full void staff here. She's going to be doing a
interesting voice
lot.
that pickup actually, with very
Oh.
little MR being currently on the enemy champions. It's really just doing it ahead of time, or maybe she knows her base damage numbers are very good, so she'd rather get pen than find AP. But
I think mostly she's been hitting the Camille and Wukong and Fresh that have been walking towards her. And those are the characters who are wearing the magic resist and have a higher base magic resist already.
yeah,
I think it's not horrible here. Or makes sense.
Again, blue team keeping this gold lead just in about 3k, 2k area. And even though, again, they are behind very slightly, the 700 gold on each character, or well, more like 1,000 on each carry, and maybe a little bit on each of the other people, doesn't really affect the game too much because of the scaling of Victor and Jinx. So it's really just an even game, and just looking for team fights.
Oh, Victor just gets bursted out by the Talia stun, though. Jack's coming in onto the Jinx to try and trade back, but he's just a little bit too far forward. He'll jump back and get his chin hooked, who will get eaten by the Tom Kench. The Jax is going to try and kite back. He's going to get ulted by the Camille, who has enough damage to shut him down. The Thresh will get knocked back by Talia a little bit. The Kench go in with a double knockup onto Wukong and Camille. Thresh will get bursted down by the Jin. And Graves and Jinx. That is just 4 people dead for the blue side. And red team is going to push in for at least the inhib, if not the end of the game. There's 20 seconds on the next death timer.
That could be the game. Yeah, let's see if they can do it. I don't know if
Kench takes here. Yeah, that's just, they're looking to push for the end. Camille's going to go for it. She's going to get hit up by the Talia. She's going to get locked down and bursted out, taken down by the Graves.
Yeah,
and Victor is up, but he can't stall all of them. And that should just be the end of the game. He's going to flash forward. He's going to look for the Jin. Go to 8 ult. He might actually just stall this out. Talia dies. It's just Kench. The stun's going to come down and lock Kench. And it's a triple kill for Victor. Knight's Dawn does not want to lose here. And he saves the game.
Yeah, so this is going to be a lot of extra time on his speed run here. I don't know about the decision to.
This is Dragon Soul, isn't it?
It is Dragon Soul for his team.
Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and Earth Souls are. Is it Earth Soul? It is Earth Soul, right?
It is Earth Soul.
Yes.
Earth Soul is the highest
really useful.
Highest win rate Dragon Soul, especially for this kind of team comp with Jinx and Victor really not wanting to get bursted.
I think if Victor picks up the Dragon Soul here, next time if he tries to walk up, I don't think Talia is going to be able to one-shot him again.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly would have liked Victor to pick up like tank boots, but I can respect the damage boots. I think that's fine. There's a lot of things to get through the enemy team. I don't know if the damage boots necessarily help too.
I think he has the ghost. I think he's a confident man. He's not gonna get hit, I believe.
Yeah. That could very well be the case. It's basically just who can get Baron now. The open Nexus is a big deal though. Having 1 Nexus tower is fine, but having 0 is just a really huge problem. You can't commit people to the Baron because if you get backdoored, well, you just lose because that's your Nexus. So they may just give up this Baron for free because of that.
Also, even if they do leave base, the enemy team has a Talia who can ult in, drop a ward, and let Jax just TP beside her.
Yeah, that's also very true. And Jax with ult and E is very, very hard to kill as he whacks your Nexus to death. So yeah, they just have to concede the Baron, and it will be another 5-5 team fight probably to decide the outcome of this series.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be a waiting game here for Blue Team. They want to wait out Baron. They want to wait out the down Nexus. Or Nexus, inhib. and try and let that Mountain Soul and their scale kind of carry them to victory here. If this game should be decided in about the next 3 to 4 minutes. If red team can, then blue team should just win.
Well, I mean, there's still hope. Like Jinx is not Jinx, sorry.
Yeah.
Jin, Jackson, and Graves are no slouches when it comes to scaling, but I don't know if they compare to the might of
That's
Victor
true.
and Jinx. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Since
I should say
Victor-
that they'll be in a better position to win, not rather that they should win.
Right. Of course, yeah.
Talia gonna look to cut off the team with the wall, but just doesn't actually catch anybody into her team at the wrong angle. Thresh is gonna hook the cannon minion back into tower range. Jin ult coming
Jin
out,
ults.
but they're all full health with soul shields, so it's not really gonna do much here.
Use ulting
except
to
for
try
three of the
and
waves.
zone them off the tower. Maybe walk up into tower.
Maybe
Big hook. Ult
Oh,
burned.
hook.
That hook would
Lands.
have result in.
Lands.
That's actually a really good big cooldown to get out of Tom Kench there. So ends up being a really
Yep.
good hook. Wow.
Magic eraser for all of life's mistakes.
Jack's walking up here, but there are no minions to keep the team
but
topside, so he's gonna have to back up a bit.
At this point, Jax is just really, really hard to kill. He's got the GA. He's got multiple E's in the fight because of all his cooldown reduction. He can just threaten
At least he doesn't-
this mid wave over and over.
He also doesn't have any armor penetration, so it's gonna be real tough for her to get that Jax down any
Yeah.
HP.
They're
Roten's
doing
just
a
gonna
really
kinda
good
back
job
up your
of stalling the
wave.
Baron out. The Baron only has 1 minute, and if the multiple of their team members back, then it looks like that's the end of the siege.
Yep.
So I think it was maybe only like a 300, maybe 400 extra gold for them off of that Baron after the Baron itself. So really not a huge amount.
Jack's actually TPing
Oh,
in here. The T ult comes in. Victor does not have flash, and he is stuck behind the wall, but he uses the Zonias to buy enough time. Wukong's going to go forward, but he's going to get dropped really low. Kench will die to Victor, and after all of the cooldowns burned, they're re-engaging. Camille ult
Victor
onto the
damage.
Jax. Jax
Victor damage.
backs in, kills the Thresh. The GA is popped. There's 2 dead on blue team, 2 dead on red. The re-engage comes through, and it looks like they'll break apart, taking 2 for each side. The tower stands, and the Baron falls off in 5 seconds for red team.
wow, Victor is just absolutely melting people on the red team. Like he gets up the Zonias, he drops the ultimate, and the Tom Kent just explodes immediately. Wow, that's really just the power of late game Victor. He's just missing pot for being full build.
But
Yeah, Jin-
also like to shill for that ghost. Really
Yeah.
came in handy there.
Yeah, Jin walking up to auto trade the Victor ends up getting almost literally instantly killed for it too. Has to play around the RFC range now if he wants to trade Victor.
Also see Jinx has picked up her last whisper. And with the inhib up, blue team can take a little bit more risk and run around to see if they can get any picks or plays.
Yeah, interestingly, no Runon's Hurricane pickup here for Jinx. Not that it's a very popular item, but it does feel like these team fights are going into that direction, that she could make good use of it.
Sorry, make good use of...
Runon's Hurricane.
Ah,
Like just the way the team fights are playing out, really the red team isn't like respecting the Jinx very much. They are clumping together a lot, so
I think that while Runon's Hurricane is definitely a popular item on Jinx, I think RFC was the correct choice here.
right. I'm
Just
saying she
for...
could did it after she could have instead of okay, big hook.
Hook lands on Jax. Wukong is going to go in here. Jin ult to kind of counter engage. Jax has plenty of health. Talia on the side, locking up the Thresh, and he will die. Camille on the backside going for Jax, but she's just going to get stunned up. Jax will actually die. So will
Victor,
Wukong, and the damage is just too much for blue side. Camille will probably drop here to Graves, but it's just Graves and Talia up. Victor and Jinx are the last 2, and Graves is stuck between 2 hyper carry game at full build. He doesn't have a lot of options, and he gets bursted down by the Victor. They will take the Elder Drake and look to put themselves at the 2-1 win.
Yeah. Victor is just scaling too much. Kurian maybe not putting out the most damage possible, but staying alive, juking around, getting all the carries to commit to him, and letting Night's Dawn just take over the team fight. incredible play actually from both of them.
There's so much damage here on the side of blue team. You kind of saw the initial burst come out, and then red team didn't have a whole lot left in the tank, but Victor and Jinx just did not stop and just kept going until they win the fight.
Yeah, Jack's building all these items for the team fight. Like I expect that Giant's Belt to be an anathema's chains probably for the Victor here, because in that last fight, I'm pretty sure Victor was almost the only one hitting him, and he didn't last more than maybe 10-15 seconds, getting hit by Victor ult E and Q. This would be a double buff, both Baron and Elder Dragon, and they're gonna look to close out the game with this one.
We see Talia somewhere in the side. I wonder if she's looking for something cheeky with her wall.
I mean, yeah, that's the only way. The only way for them to win a team fight without like really good pick is to bait some people into staying back. So
They do have the Baron recall, so I think if they ward up the jungle, they should be able to get away with walking out of the base.
yeah, blue team's still playing very very respectful though of the threat of the backdoor, not committing to 5-manning mid immediately. They don't have too much longer to wait though. They still need to play around these timers. Their Elder Dragon does fall off in like what 30 seconds, maybe 50 seconds. So they really have to take this time to do what they can. It looks like red team
Looks like red
not
team-
threatening, not threatening at all. Yeah,
There's
Yeah, but just-
like 2 good flank hordes there for the blue team for Jax or for the red team for Jax to TP onto. Camille's still pushing out the bot lane. I wonder if
the
they're
Jhin ult
gonna try
to get them to back
Jhin
off
just
the
for the
wall
win.
as well. I think they jumped.
Ult.
I think they committed the
Camille
Jhin ult a little bit
in
early.
here just to save this minion. And it looks like they just don't have the minions to really force their way in. Talia's going to do some good damage here to Thresh, but he's still a third of his health left. Meanwhile, Victor just burning down the tower, getting some good damage onto Jax there. The hook comes through onto Kench.
They just have so much damage that, like,
Victor is just playing in the middle of Red's entire team, and he's still just getting so much damage down. The tower is dropping. Red needs to look for a fight here. Jax will flash in, follow from Graves. Wukong counter engage with the ult. The Camille ult comes down. 2 resurrections, both GAs. Jhin flashes out, barely survived.
Victor's alive.
Jax is still up.
Can Victor do
Victor
it?
is still up, though. He's getting run down by the Jax. He will burn his Zanyas. Camille will kill Talia. And Thresh will help with Victor to take out the Jax. And now it is Jhin versus the world. And Victor basically half health that Nexus with his Lich auto attack. He will take out the Jhin just for good measure. And that is the series over to Str8th.
that my
Wow.
prediction?
That is.
I think that was your prediction.
Yeah, you and I both predicted 2-1 for Str8th, and that ends up being the outcome of the series. Wow, that last game was incredibly long. Really
That's
delaying
Really
that
exciting.
speed run.
Excellent
I
play
don't.
from both teams.
It looks like they're gonna come out on top in the end victory-wise, but just not incredible for their speedrun chances. I think they're gonna drop the world record here for sure. They're not on the world record timing, so
Yeah. That was just, man, that Victor kind of wasn't super involved in the game, and then he was, and it was every team fight was just how much damage can Victor do?
I think we gotta pause the timer here real quick. I think I saw that at 2:59.
yeah. I'm trying to hold on. I need to figure out how to pause that. Well, the technical difficulties. I'll be honest. My live split seems to be misfunctioning.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
Pratitas and I just said, that was a really great showing from Victor. Both the carries on blue team, actually.
Yeah. Can we get, as a way to close this off, can we get our series MVPs? Who's our MVP for the series?
Can we take a quick look at the match history again, just to refresh our memories about the
I don't
previous game?
have access to the match history, unfortunately.
What were do you have the drafts still open? I'm just trying to make sure I'm not going to save Night's Dawn because of the victory. That was a 43-minute game, and I don't remember the other ones all that well.
Yeah, I mean, he performed really well in Galio in the game before that, but his team also played
Oh,
really
that's
well
really
around
good.
him. My
I
kind
have
of
heard that.
expectation is I want to go for RL Bones. In the first
I
game,
was
the
just
Anivia
yeah.
wasn't super great. He was looking for a lot of plays, but ended up overcommitting to them, and that sometimes cost his team a little bit of tempo. Getting to the dragons, getting to the barons, but in games 2 and 3, he really turned that around, and he found a lot of picks on both the Thresh and the Blitzcrank. So I really want to give it to him. And
I
then,
think
I think
yep,
I said our opponents did fantastic. I think Nightstone did do pretty well both games, and honestly, that Galio performance was almost more impressive than his Victor one. He did a lot of work there.
yep,
I don't think I'd give him MVP, but a shout out to Dexmax. Like just having that Camille pick, they tried to counter it 3 different ways. And the only one that really worked was that Olaf. So he
yes,
did a lot even just in draft by just being unstoppable in that Camille.
yeah,
But I think
like.
overall, I'd have to give it to our opponents.
Yeah, I think I also want to actually say Dexmax did a really good job, especially in that last game. He got the counter pick, and honestly, looking through levels 1 through 5, you'd think Camille's a Jax counter pick. So yeah,
Yeah.
really well played to him. Right, and that will be all for this series. I'd like to thank my casters for coming
Well,
out today on short notice, and I'd like to thank
what
teams
was
for
what
having a
was
banger series.
Katie's? Katie, who was your MVP?
oh shout out to Nightstone, but especially running Ghost on Victor. I 1000% approve of that. However, RL Phones is kind of really cool. I was just looking for those plays. I think, especially in the latter halves of both games, he was instrumental in closing out those games and peeling for his carries. And I think he just really did a great job enabling all of the plays that his team did. So I'm also going to give it to RL Phones.
Right. So R1's the MVP for this series. The series goes to Str8th, and Sice Derive will be playing. Hold on. I think they'll be playing Built Different 2 in the losers bracket, while Str8th will go on to play T1. Those will be really interesting games, actually, but that conversation will be for those casters. All right, so thank you guys for coming out. I'm gonna end the stream.